is Golick and Wingo. For Thursday, November 28th, happy Thanksgiving.
Mac and cheese up in the oven, grandma finished cooking. Thanksgiving around the corner, need banana pudding.
You can predict that Thanksgiving is going to get weird. You can also predict that Jerry Jones is going to make things weird with the Cowboys.
If they lose today, Jerry said he's not going to fire him in season. He might mentally fire him.
Might not make the Christmas, but I'm hoping and I'm pushing for a better day, a good day.
Sunday night or Monday night, we can feature that star on the helmet. We need to play like stars so that people believe that we're still America's team.
I brought you home to mama, introduce you to my cousins, met my aunties and my uncles. Know they crazy, they be bugging, but
this is kind of like us parachuting in on the Cowboys Thanksgiving. It feels like it has gotten uncomfortable there, and the only thing that's going to silence all this is a win today.
Mac and cheese up in the oven, grandma finished cooking.
It's Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Jason Fitz, Mike Golick Jr., Bobby Carpenter in for the guys. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the show. Penzo Performance Line. We got a lot of football to get into. And by the way, we talked a little football earlier with Adam Schefter. If you missed our interview with Shefty, go check out the entire thing on demand in the Golick and Wingo podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One, N.A., member FDIC. We got a lot of football to get into, but quickly, Mike Golick Jr., you just gave us the truth on cheesecake, and now I can go back to my pie is trash total stance because, as you said, it's in a different group than we expected.
Yeah, so we've been having the debate, and Jason, one of your scorchers of a take is that pie is trash. You stand in the name of cake, and Bobby and I want to make it clear also, Bobby, I think I can speak for us here. We're not anti-cake in all this.
Which I love cake. When we went for one of the best days I had planning my wife's wedding is when we went to the cake tasting.
Man.
I brought my younger brother, who was probably 14 at the time. He's the only person I think they probably ever have had that was asking for seconds of the filling. Like, can I get some more of that? He looks over, I'm like, I mean, this cake isn't cheap, so give the man what he wants. Did about 47 different fillings. I love cake, and you mentioned the cream cheese frosting. I love a good cream cheese frosting. Like, the cake itself, to me, is only a vehicle to get the icing to me.
We agree. We agree completely.
See, Carpenter might be your last name, but there's Golick inside you, my friend. Now, that being said, we bring all this back to say you said that pie is trash, but you love a good cheesecake, and you claim that cheesecake is cake, which we had a whole debate about. I got a text from a friend, and I just want to put this out there into the universe. The structure of cheesecake is composed of somewhat of a pastry shell and a custard-like filling that sometimes contains fruit. Despite the confusing terminology, cheesecake is by no means a cake. Also, since cheesecake isn't topped with a pastry, it cannot be pie. Cheesecake is, and forever will be, a tart.
Which means we are back to all pie is trash. I can now say that definitively. And I don't have to have any hot take on tart. I can be divided on tart.
You can't say that because my good friend, Tank Johnson, who I played with in Dallas, terrific defensive tackle, Bears, Cowboys, finished up with the Bengals, I believe. So my wife would make these pumpkin cheesecakes. You get the cheesecake batter, you get the pumpkin filling, you mix it together. It's all the goodness that you're looking for right there. So I'd bring them in before we had kids. She'd cook, bake, bring some stuff in. She would make some of the little handhelds, and then she ran out of some of the little handheld ones, the single-serve mini pies that look very tart-esque, if you might say. And so she made like a classic normal, pumpkin cheesecake in a normal size. And so I brought that in. I'd passed out all the small ones. And Tank Johnson came over. He's like, I'll take that. And I'm like, well, let me get a fork and we can cut this. And he's like, no. I'll have this. And so this is like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. He sits down, and Tank, one of my favorite things about him, he wears practice jersey, no undershirt underneath, which is not something that people really do, especially when we're not wearing shoulder pads. And he sat in his locker before practice in about a 15-minute time period and ate an entire pumpkin pie cheesecake before going out and running around. I don't know how he didn't throw up. I watched him and monitored him the entire practice, and not any of that cheesecake reappeared at any point in time throughout the rest of the day.
That's a gift right there, to be able to eat a whole cheesecake and not vomit it when you're running around.
So
that's
rich.
really the important. And to be very clear, you knew you were coming here today. You knew you were hanging out with us, yet I don't see said pumpkin cheesecake.
Well, the aforementioned pumpkin pie cheesecake needs to be refrigerated. And when you have to connect to get to Hartford here, listen, I'm a guy that likes to live on the edge. I mean, I've eaten chili that may or may not have been close to 2 weeks old in the fridge. Like, I'll eat turkey that's left out for a couple hours when a lot of people might say it's not a good idea. But I don't want to bring something like that and share it with you if it wasn't transported at the proper temperature, for fear that I don't know if your stomach fits is like mine. It's been conditioned for years of eating food that's right on the edge.
My stomach is an American treasure, can handle anything. And last time I checked, tiny cooler can fit in a carry-on. It's Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio. Jason Fitz, Mike Golic Jr., Bobby Carpenter. A lot of football going on today. We've been breaking it down. Obviously, the biggest matchup of the day for most people that are hanging out and watching football today is going to be Bills at Cowboys. We've talked about the coaching situation. We've talked about the Bills not getting enough respect. We've done all that. But gentlemen, we've managed to make it 2 hours through a show where we've talked about the Cowboys, and we haven't said anything about Dak, as remarkable as it is. Now, let's remember the Cowboys haven't beaten a single team with a winning record so far this year. So when you look at this matchup, because of the Bills' strength on defense, is this sort of a moment that we can at least take and hang a hat on for Dak and the Cowboys if they go out and they perform incredibly well?
I feel like we've stopped asking the questions about Dak. Like, yes, I understand the winning record deal and all this, but Dak has gone out and looked great enough to me to say, yeah, with the weapons they've got around him, you can start to count on this as a building block going forward. Like, we're not at the place where, all right, if Zeke is completely out of check, where you can't count on this. The Patriots, as a defense, are an outlier. They're a gross outlier in how great they are. And so I hesitate to use that as the slight against him now.
Yeah, I would challenge you with this, and believe me, Dak's playing well, and he needs to get paid. Like, not paying him earlier, like, the price has only gone up, and he deserves it. But Damian Woody brought this up when I asked him what was the key to win. He mentioned time of possession. And Dallas's defense, they give up about the same yards per play, this year, last year, the year before. It's how many plays are they actually playing? And the time of possession factors in with the way this team was constructed. They built this offensive line. They brought in Zeke, a hammer. And so they were built to run the football, limit how much their defense is on, and then Dak can take shots and he can pass it when he needs to, but they weren't built to throw the ball 45 times a game. And if you go and look back, granted, before the Patriots game, Dak had passed for 400 yards in back-to-back games. One game they lost to the Vikings. Another game they barely beat the Lions, led by Jeff Driscoll. And so the defense gets exposed a little bit. And if you look at the Patriots game, what did they have the most success doing? Running the football with Zeke. He averaged over 4 yards a carry. And so I don't want to make this conversation like Dak is not good, or give Fitzy's hot take, Dak is trash like pie. Like, that's not the case. He's good. He's a really good player, but this team is built to be better when they're running the ball with Zeke, and that's what they're going to have to do against Buffalo.
I see. Strategy-wise, it is absolutely a valid conversation to have. Not is Dak not good enough, but what does this team need against the Patriots? We've seen all year their run defense has kind of been the place that you can get over on them. We've seen, as you pointed out, the defense struggles a little bit if you put too much stress on them based on how fast you're moving on offense. So those things are valid. I look at it now and say, we know that Dak can do the job. Now, he might be closer to, because we've seen when those tackles are out, when some things get out of sorts, it can certainly have an effect. Like 90% of the quarterbacks in the league, he might not be in that Aaron Rodgers-esque category, Pat Mahomes, of guys that can do it even when the stuff's breaking down, but he's damn good enough to do it with the guys they've got now.
I think it raises sort of an interesting question, though. When you think about most of the best teams in the NFL, they have a very clear identity. Not even the best teams, but most teams in the playoff conversation. You know what they do and how they do it and what they do well. That's the interesting thing about the Cowboys is I feel like week in and week out we're still trying to shift. Well, are they Zeke's team or are they Dak's team? And in this moment, what's their go-to? Like, there seems to be, even though they're good at a lot of things, it's sort of jack of all trade, master and none on offense. What is the identity of the Cowboys? And because we don't know that, that's why I think we're constantly playing pin the tail on the donkey with whoever we want to give credit to or blame to every time they win or lose. And that's part of why the conversation always shifts to Jason Garrett, because we establish identity through coaching. So without that, you go into today's game, I don't know what definitive statement we'll get. And it's alarming because you're talking about two playoff caliber football teams that both sides of it, there are still all of these question marks about, and that seems strange to me to have a playoff matchup on Thanksgiving and we can't decide what either of these teams really are.
Well, and I guess you go and look at this, and to me it's kind of it's a microcosm that is a 3rd and 2 situation. It's not a 3rd and 1 where it's an obvious run. You can throw it there if you want, and some teams do. Like the Chiefs, probably going to throw it on 3rd and 2. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, a lot of times probably going to throw it on 3rd and 2. When I think of the Dallas Cowboys, 3rd and 2, I think of a team that's going to line up and run the football. And when they don't do that and then they don't convert, your ears perk up and the questions go like, well, why didn't they just run it right there with Zeke? Why did you invest all this money in this offensive line? And this guy, if you're not going to allow him to go out there and try to pound for 2 yards, something that we know he is really good at and we've watched him have success with in the past.
And you're right. It's very funny to see this now because in the NFL, what we've watched in the last 4 or 5 years is this transition to more spread out offenses. The defenses in the league are dominated in nickel personnel because that's what offenses have given them. And during that time period, the Cowboys were the one plodding away. Scott Linehan's offense was trying to grind out the run game. They did put all those resources there. And then a weird thing's happening now where we're seeing a little bit of a market correction. Like the Patriots go through the playoffs last year blasting people with a fullback because there's so many smaller defenses. The Ravens this year have loaded up everywhere else and now have a unique weapon at quarterback, but are running so much that they're giving Lamar Jackson these great advantageous spots in the pass game to shred people. And now the Cowboys last year bring Amari Cooper over, paying a high price tag as far as draft capital on that. You bring Randall Cobb in that situation as well. And you start allocating resources to kind of go back the other way. You're zagging when everyone else had just started to zig in the place that you wanted to be originally. Exactly. So it seems like their identity shift came at an inopportune time.
And I'll go back to, Bobby, your point on 3rd and 2. What do? There's an argument with this Cowboys team. Well, 3rd and 2, the ball should be in Zach's hands. 3rd and 2, the ball should be in Zeke's hands or Dak's hands or Amari's hands. There are so many weapons, but what is that go-to trend? That's what we're trying to figure out, and that's what we'll see today. It's Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Jason Fitz, Mike Golic Jr., Bobby Carpenter. Let's head out to the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Obviously, a lot of football today, a lot of NBA last night. We're joined now by ESPN NBA reporter Cassidy Hubbard, who you can watch on Hoop Streams. She was at the game last night for the Celtics. Cassidy, we talked a little bit about Kyrie. What was the environment like there? And we've all seen Kyrie wasn't there. What was the feel like in Boston for the game?
Well, it started outside of the TD Garden. I'm sure you guys saw those posters outside all over where, they called him coward, and they had him dressed up as a cowardly lion. So it started outside the TD Garden, and then the fans got even more creative inside. I mean, it felt like game day, which, you're familiar with that. There was just so many signs. Even though Kyrie wasn't in the building, his presence was felt because that's really what the biggest story was until the end of the game, which was, of course, Kemba Walker.
So you look at this story now with Kyrie, and you saw a little bit of this with Cleveland. We saw it starting to happen in Boston. Now he finally goes to a place that he allegedly wanted to be with, a guy that he wanted to be with in the Brooklyn Nets. And he had to anticipate this. Being in Boston, he knew that there was reaction. Like, I was surprised at his Instagram post, and it seems like this one, I thought it was maybe going to start to dissipate. It seems like it's going to always be there with Kyrie. Do you think this will eventually begin to affect him in the long run in his play on the court?
Well, that's the thing, though. Like with Kyrie, he's a marvel. He's an individual talent when you watch him. But as we saw last year, it doesn't matter how good he is. It does start to affect his teammates and his play on the court because. For instance, last night, his teammates were having to answer Kyrie questions. His teammates were having to hear the chants from the Boston crowd say, "Where is Kyrie?" Look, he's been playing really well individually this year. However, in this last 5-game stretch, Spencer Dinwiddie has been able to step up and prove that he deserves to. Get the ball more. I think it's a hard thing with Kyrie because, as we saw last year too with the Celtics, around this time when he was being asked about going to New York and him saying I don't know anything to edit myself there. I think he gets in his own way, and I think he does it on purpose because as we saw last night with the Post. He wants to be defiant. He's trying to prove a point about feeling like NBA players are being dehumanized. But with that is going to continue criticism, and talking to people around the team. It's just, he's not doing himself any favors by, not playing the game, so to speak. He's welcoming the criticism by, being defiant and standing up and trying to prove people wrong and trying to teach people lessons, I guess. His post, he was making, good points, but at the same time, I think, it's hard for people to embrace that message fully. When he's not there, I guess he is injured. So there's this narrative that, he purposely missed the game. I don't think that's fair to say, but you could show up and be on the bench for the team, and take that reaction from the crowd and then move on. And then it's, then you can move on. But I think he does this to himself. It just snowballs with him, some of the decisions he makes and some of the things that he says.
Cassidy Hubbarth with us. You can follow her on Twitter at Cassidy Hubbarth. You can check her out on Hoop Streams, as well as covering and helping out with college football with us on the weekends right now. Cassidy, I think I hear your producer in the background telling you.
I know, I'm sorry. We talked last night. I go, oh my God, Mike, I have my daughter, and I'm like, she's going to tell us how long I have, but she's doing okay right now.
Exactly. It is incredible. I said, we have a new producer on this show, and it is Cassidy's young daughter right now. So Cassidy, one more for you before we get the rope from the producer on this one. Kemba Walker's the other interesting part of this to me, because he is the new man in town in Boston. We saw him on a stretcher a couple of nights ago and back on the court doing what he did last night. What's the reception been like for him now as the new face in town?
Well, he is just such an easy guy to embrace. It's the polar opposite. He is so easy to root for. Tim Bontemps had an interesting story on ESPN.com where he asked, Kemba, he was like, what is it that makes you root for your teammates so much? And he looked at Tim like, well, what kind of question is that? They're my teammates. And, he was just pointing out that it just wasn't that way last year. And so, not only is Kemba such a great teammate and easy to root for and an exciting player, and he galvanizes, the team around him, it's just the comparison to who was there before makes it easier, I guess, for fans to be like, yeah, that's our guy. He just has so much fun playing the game that you want to root for him. And it was crazy what happened last week. It was so scary, that injury, and then he was able to just miss one game and bounce back with that, and he bounced back in a big way and put on a really, really great performance last night for the Celtics fans, who obviously were focused on trying to send a message about Kyrie, and I think Kemba sent the message that, okay, I'm here, guys. You don't need to worry about that anymore.
You can watch her all over the place, like Mike said, on college football coverage, obviously on NBA coverage, and check out Hoop Streams. It's back, a digital show like Mike and I do so much with the college football space. Cassidy crushes Hoop Streams. Absolutely great work. Follow her on Twitter at Cassidy Hubbard. Cassidy, thanks for hanging out with us. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for letting us steal a little family time from you.
Oh, no, not at all. Thank you. It was a pleasure to be on the show, guys. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Happy Thanksgiving, Cassidy. That's doing it all right there.
Oh, my God.
Morning.
Yeah. Well, and Cassidy crushes. If you've never checked out Hoop Streams, by the way, much like Mike and I host shows that are available on the YouTube, on Twitter, on the ESPN app.
Trey, is that you?
As much as we host those, you can find Hoop Streams. I think about 35 games this year. They'll do Hoop Streams, and it's Cassidy and Kendrick Perkins, and they're right on the sidelines of games. All the stars and players come in. It's an awesome, awesome event to watch. So follow Cassidy on Twitter. She tweets out a link all the time. So if you're not sure how to catch it, you can catch her whenever they're doing that stuff.
Such an interesting note. And Bobby, we were talking about this morning. Obviously, Kyrie's note that was on his Instagram story last night talking about people's criticism of him. Cassidy reminding us, wasn't even in the building last night.
Yeah, exactly.
As that went on. Was not there on the bench taking all the slings and arrows in this, but watching it from afar and had that reaction.
Just because you can't see something doesn't mean that you still can't feel it. And even if you couldn't hear it, being able to see it and understand through a monitor, it was the taunting and the booing. It still hurt him in a very serious place.
Bobby, I think you're being a little. Sarcastic there, buddy. I think
it's good. I'm laying it on pretty thick,
okay.
like some cream cheese icing.
Wow.
I want it as thick as possible.
You and me both. One year for my birthday, all I got was just a vat of cream cheese icing, and I just ate the whole thing. That's my commitment to the cream cheese icing. Look, this is part of who Kyrie is, and we've had this discussion, but I'll continue to look at it and say, I have no problem with clapping back in general. As a general rule, I understand that he wasn't in the building. I understand all of that. But I have no problem. If fans want to boo, I have no problem with that. But if players want to turn around and call them out for it, I have no problem with that too. There is a tone issue. I'll give you that. The more I read his statement on Instagram, the more I'll agree that maybe the tone isn't the best. But I just don't have any issue with the player coming back and being like, hey, you're a more, like, I would have respected the post more, I think, if he had just come back and said, hey, up yours, Boston, I am where I am.
How different is this in your guys' mind? And I know the one glaring difference that comes to mind is this from what we experienced with Kevin Durant. Like, how different is it? I understand the burner kind of, tricks things off a little bit differently there with Kevin Durant in that way, but how different is it really, a guy who is as open and honest with their feelings about the way they are perceiving the slights from the public on social media? These two guys are probably front and center when it comes to that, and specifically the way they respond.
I don't think it's all that different. I guess because to me, both of it just implies that the guys listen probably too much to what's being said about them.
But why is it too much?
It's a societal thing now. Like, I mean, I guess I grew up in an area like, since you called it the YouTube. But it's just like my parents, like, people are going to say a lot of things about you. Some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. Probably a lot of it's not even true. So if you're going to derive your self-worth from that, then that's a you problem, not a them problem.
But the funny thing is, to me, is that, and I've been part of it, where we look at him, we're like, what is Kevin Durant doing? The thing that I find amusing about all of that is we say it's a you problem. It's really not a problem in most ways, though. Like, yes, Kevin Durant might be sensitive, but last time I checked, when he's healthy, he's the best player in the NBA, True. And all he does is win championships when he's surrounded by other great players. Fine, but like, there's this.
Couldn't help yourself and slip the dig in there.
No. I was just protecting myself from Stugatz texting me. Look, I'm just saying that Kevin Durant, all he did is win. All he's done is win and be the best player in the NBA. So what if he's soft? Like for Kyrie, if he goes out and produces, so what if he's soft?
But look at what happened at the end of Kyrie's tenure with the Celtics. Would you call that producing? Yeah, he was putting up numbers, but were they ultimately translating into wins? And you can make the same argument for Kevin Durant in OKC when he wasn't with the crew that he had in Golden State, which, like, Draymond Green, love him or hate him, there's a lot of things I hate about him. He doesn't care at all what people think about him. And so that's why he's able to go out there and play and nothing bothers him.
But who would you rather have if you were playing in the NBA as your teammate today? Kevin Durant, healthy. Kevin Durant or Draymond?
So I'm glad you said that because Kevin Durant's not out there. Kevin Durant's obviously more talented.
So who cares if he's soft?
No, but it's not that. But I guess it's to the point where I know you were bringing this up.
He needs guys like Draymond Green around him, though, to help shoulder that burden.
It certainly does. And I mean, you could argue for both of them that what they've accomplished would not have happened without the benefit. Now, Kevin Durant, I think, would have gotten there eventually. He is a markedly better player than Kyrie Irving in the way that he can affect the game. But what Bobby just said, it's not just Twitter. Like, Kyrie Irving ended up being that inner locker room dealing with the younger players on his team who all of a sudden weren't as willing to put up with the things he said because they didn't feel like he had the clout after what they accomplished. For Kevin Durant, we know, and I said, I understand the blow up with Draymond Green. Draymond openly saying to you, man, we don't need you to do this, and that affecting you. But it did. It's something that affected Kevin Durant because he takes these things in a little bit differently than maybe some of the stars we've seen in the past.
And you make a great point, obviously, with Kyrie. If it starts to affect the product on the court, that's all that matters. If you're soft and it's affecting your team, then that you're absolutely
the winners write history. And Kevin Durant, on top of his game, changes the way we viewed a lot of that, but that's because he was winning.
Don't forget, Go Look and Wingo. We want to remind you to check out the podcast. You can hear our Eliminator picks from yesterday. All of us made picks brought to you by the Ferguson app. See who we thought was going to win this weekend in the Eliminator picks, where nobody's really eliminated. Coming up next, we'll head out to Motown to preview the first of 3 Thanksgiving games between one of the oldest rivalries in football. We'll get to that after this.
After this word from Shell, they say the best offense is a good defense. That's especially true when it comes to the fuel that you're going to put in your car. It's time to help keep your engine running like new. Use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. It's engineered to defend against the 4 main engine threats, that being gunk, wear, corrosion, and friction. It's their most advanced fuel ever, protecting your engine like a solid stiff arm, a huge hit, or a last-second block. Like defensive lines, not all premium fuels are the same. That's fuel for thought. And if you're a Fuel Rewards member, you're going to save at least 5 cents a gallon on every fill-up with gold status. Not a member? Well, just download the Fuel Rewards app or go to fuelrewards.com to join and never pay full price for gas again. In engines that continuously use Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. We get a bear down or up next on Go Look and Wingo.
ESPN Daily Podcast, presented by Indeed. Available wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
Welcome back to Sports View. Today's topic, game changers. Makes me think of Progressive's Home Quote Explorer. Finally, a simple, efficient way to quote home insurance. Let's go to Colin, who will now try to say something.
Okay, first of all, are you kidding? Never in my life. Okay, when you see stuff like this, look, I'm not the only one who thinks this, although everybody says I am.
Well said, Colin. Well said.
Get right to the point with Home Quote Explorer. It's a game changer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
I really thought I would die of stress long before the cancer, because the diagnosis brought this avalanche of worries. The money, the travel, the burden on the family. One night I called the American Cancer Society, and they helped me map out a plan. Got me free rides to chemo and even a free place to stay during treatment. They took away those other fears, so I could rest up for the real fight.
Please give at cancer.org.
At the Happy Honda Days sales event, you can unwrap incredible deals that'll make you, oh my gosh, you know, the kind of gift that makes you, no way, or even, awesome. Yep, that's basically Happy Honda Days in a chest nutshell.
Get a great deal on a 2019 HRV from KBB.com's best overall brand for 2019 with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. Hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details based on 2019 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
At the Happy Honda Days sales event, you can unwrap incredible deals that'll make you, oh my gosh, you know, the kind of gift that makes you, no way. Yep, that's basically Happy Honda Days in a chest nutshell.
Get a great deal on a 2019 CRV from KBB.com's best overall brand for 2019 with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers.
Visit your Central Illinois Honda dealers or go to centralilhondadealers.com.
See dealer for financing details based on 2019 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Get the roof your home deserves. Roof Doctors. They have honest, reasonable rates. They give you competitive prices up front. No gimmicks or contractor pricing games. You can rely on Roof Doctors. No deposit required. No subcontractors. Over 30 years in business in the industry. Check out Roof Doctors at roofdoctorsco.com or call Tammy or Randy at 328-7529. Roof Doctors, 328-7529.
Hello, this is Shane Calder of Country Arbors Nursery. Country Arbors Nursery is your home for a natural Christmas. Christmas isn't about pulling the dusty tree out of the box and plugging it in. It's about coming to Country Arbors Nursery and picking out the best looking, best smelling tree you've ever had. Our Fraser firs are the best price in town, starting at under $40 for a 6-foot tree. Country Arbors also carries fresh wreaths, roping, branches, and dozens of other fresh cut greens for your decorations. So come out to Country Arbors Nursery, home of the best live trees and cut branching in town. We're open every day but Thanksgiving. Go to countryarbors.com for hours and directions.
36 countries, thousands of artisans, and countless stories. They all come together when you experience 10,000 villages in downtown Champaign. This holiday season, discover skillfully handcrafted jewelry, home decor, and more. And your purchase will bring dignity to families, feed and educate their children, and allow them to live happier and healthier lives. Experience unique handmade wonders of the world at 10,000 Villages, your fair trade retailer for over 30 years. 105 North Walnut in downtown Champaign. Shop local with global impact. Visit 10,000villages.com.
Get your parts on, girl.
This holiday season, Pard's Western Shop has gifts for any lifestyle. From boots to jeans, belts to bracelets, and everything in between. New inventory arriving daily with today's latest trends. Pard's staff can help you find that perfect present for everyone on your list. Open 7 days a week. Stop by today. Check them out online at pards.com.
So get your parts on, girl. It starts with the stop at Pard's Western Shop. Get your parts on.
Hi, I'm Troy Lands. Here's a great offer from Lands. For a limited time, we're offering instant rebates up to $1,000 or special long-term financing with group credit on qualifying training systems. That's $1,000 in instant rebates or special financing. Call Lands for details or find us online at landsinc.com. And remember, it's hard to stop a train. Any season, anytime, you can count on Lands.
See Lands or visit train.com for complete program eligibility dates, details, and restrictions. Hi, Ellen Hook here, owner of your local Ashley Home Store and Sleep Shop. Our Black Friday offer has officially been outed. We're taking our Black Friday discounts and tripling them. That's right. We are going to take our already marked down prices and times the discount by 3. At Ashley Home Store and Sleep Shop, triple your savings on mattresses, living room, dining room, bedroom, recliners, entertainment centers, wall art, area rugs, accent tables, and more. Plus, get 0% interest with your discount. Doorbusters have limited quantities, and the first 30 customers in the door get a free $50 coupon. We open at 8 a.m. on Friday. See you at your local Ashley Home Store.
Maybe you're like me. There's all these different TVs out there, and I get so confused. Right now, there's a Sony 4K. Andy, my buddy from Premier Sound, is right next to me. How you doing, my friend?
Lonte, what's happening tonight? How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. What is the 4K? What is the Sony? I know I've got to have it, and you've got it for cheap, but what do I need it for?
Absolutely, buddy. We sell every single Sony product under the sun. We can get you Sony TVs, Sony receivers, Sony soundbars. We can do it all for you. But the greatest thing about Sony 4K, obviously most of you have 1080p or standard high definition televisions that we've seen for years and years and years. Well, now there's 4K, 4 times the resolution. They start at 32 inch, jump up to 40, 43, 50, 55. We go all the way up to an 85-inch Sony 4K TV that are under $3,000.
Wow.
That's for the 85-inch. We have a fantastic 65-inch at around $999. You got to come into Premier Sound if you're interested in a Sony 4K TV. You'll love it. I mean it. You got to come in and see him, Rob.
That's why I trust you.
Come see me. Corner of Prospect and Bradley in Champaign.
It's the Jeremy Warner Show. Weekday mornings from 9 to 11. Right here on ESPN 93.5.
The Lakers lead by 2. 5.3 seconds left.
Everybody's on their feet.
Holiday to inbound it. Holiday having trouble getting it in. Holiday brings it in, stolen by Anthony Davis, and they foul him. And Anthony Davis steals the ball in the inbounds pass. And what a fitting ending this would be if he can hit these 2 free throws.
Got to make them both.
ESPN LA 710 on the Call Sports Center on Golick and Wingo. I'm Jason Fitz. In his return to New Orleans through a barrage of boos, Anthony Davis put on a show. Dropped 41 points to go along with 9 boards and a game-clinching steal. I mean, it was a terrible pass. And a 114-110 Lakers win. Davis becomes the first player in NBA history to have 40 points in his first game against his former team. Let's go from the NBA to college basketball after a 19-point second-half comeback against Seton Hall on the opening day of the Battle for Atlantis. Boom, boom, boom. Number 11, Oregon will square off against 8th-ranked Gonzaga today. It's the team's first meetings since 1999. Gonzaga will be putting their 27-game regular season winning streak on the line. That is the longest active streak in all of Division I. And if it's Thanksgiving, you know 2 things. You know you're going to eat too much, and then you know you're going to watch too much football. Never mind, it's always just enough on Thanksgiving. We have a triple header on the slate today. The Bears travel to Detroit in the early game, and then the Pokes host the Bills at 4:30 Eastern, and in the nightcap to go along with your second, maybe third dinner, 18th nap. Drew Brees and the Saints will play Atlanta. That's all. They'll play the Falcons in Atlanta. They'll play Atlanta in the Falcons. I don't think that works. They'll play the Falcons in Atlanta.
Strike that. Reverse it. Sports Center is brought to you by Goodyear Auto Service. At Goodyear Auto Service, well, we couldn't fit all our Black Friday savings into just one day, so great deals are running now until December 4th. Come in and save big this week on new tires. Your car will thank you. Visit GoodyearAutoservice.com to learn more.
It's Golick.
And Wingo.
And from us to you, the happiest of Thanksgiving wishes. Drive safe, give thanks, and always go up for 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
Oh, dear God.
5th if you can.
Make it stop.
Take something home with you.
I hate myself.
Doggy bag.
It's Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Penzo Performance Line. You just heard the voices of Trey Wingo and Mike Golick wishing you a happy Thanksgiving because they're getting ready to feast. So in the meantime, Mike Golick Jr., Bobby Carpenter, and myself, Jason Fitz, we're holding down the fort while the guys eat their way through all of it. It just occurred to me, I got 2 big boys next to me. This might be the perfect opportunity to do some Black Friday shopping. You guys create the room. I'll just get in and get the deals. We good with that?
That's a whole different level to things, Bobby. We've talked about Drinksgiving a lot. Last night, the big party night before Thanksgiving. But then tomorrow is when you really strap on the armor and get ready to go to work. I'm not built for Black Friday shopping. That's just not something I have in my resume. Have you ever been a part of that?
No. Why would I want to go out there with the unwashed masses and fight with people over something I'm going to probably save like $10 on an item.
Because
that's
it's
like
fun, you Grinches.
No, because listen, I don't want to get in a fight with a 45-year-old mom about trying to, like, I bumped into her when she's trying to grab this toy, and because of that, now she didn't get the toy for her kid. I'm a demon. Like, I don't need that in my life, man. Those are not things that I want to have happen to me.
You can't coach Christmas spirit around here. ESPN NFL Nation Bears reporter Jeff Dickerson joins us on the show. Pennzoil Performance Line. JD, happy Thanksgiving, first and foremost. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it, and I hope that you get an absolutely gross amount of turkey in your stomach today, like as much as you possibly can handle. Thanks for hanging out with us. At some point, the Bears are going to look back on this season and try and figure out where it went wrong. When you look at it as somebody that's around this team more than anybody, when you look at it, what has been the downfall for Chicago?
Yeah, guys, happy Thanksgiving. I mean, I think with the Bears, you look at the offense, and it's been a collective failure from top to bottom, really. I think when the season began, the quarterback play was just very shaky. The head coach, who's the second-year head coach and the play caller, wasn't exactly sure how to react to that, the instability that Mitchell Trubisky was giving them. Then the offensive line had their nights where they didn't play very well, except for Allen Robinson. You know, no Bears wide receivers for the most part have stepped up a ton this year. They're really hurting at tight end, especially today, guys. I mean, Ben Braunecker, who's played a role here the last couple of weeks, he's inactive with a concussion. Adam Shaheen, their former second-round pick, who's basically played himself off the roster, he's inactive. Trey Burton's on injured reserve. So Trubisky has very little right now to work with at tight end. Special teams, you know, for a while, the Bears' kicking situation had kind of righted itself. Now, the last couple of weeks, Eddie Pinheiro has missed some kicks. But this year is about the offense, and why has the offense regressed with Matt Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky in year number 2? The defense is still good enough. They are a good defense. I'm sure they'll play well today against Detroit's third-string quarterback. But until they figure out why this team ranks near the bottom of almost every important offensive statistical category, they'll never really get this thing straightened out.
Is there a quick solution in your mind? Is there a solution that's easy this offseason for them?
No, I don't think so. I mean, every indication is that they're going to be committed to Trubisky here. They've had every opportunity to make that switch from his play to he had the shoulder injury. They rushed him back from that. He hurt his hip against the Rams. They rushed him right back from that. I mean, they've had the chance to go to Chase Daniel, and they just have not done it. I mean, he's their, second overall pick in 2017. So much is riding on him, at least playing at the level he played at last year, which has been so elusive for most of this season. There's no easy fix. You don't fire the head coach. I don't think if the GM is going to get fired. You're not going to overhaul the roster dramatically because almost all of these guys are under contract and have been paid. Yeah, you got to get some more help at tight end. You got to maybe do something on the offensive line, maybe one more, linebacker or defensive lineman. But I think for the Bears, really what you see is what you get going forward. And for a team that entered the year with Super Bowl aspirations to be 5-6 and kind of playing in the dog game here on Thanksgiving, it's just very disappointing for them.
Talking to our ESPN NFL Nation Bears reporter Jeff Dickerson on the show, Pennzoil Performance Line. And, Jeff, we talk so much about the offense. I feel like a lot of people look at Khalil Mack and this defense because they're not seeing the same monster turnovers and say, well, this group has regressed. I feel like this is probably not getting its just due for just how good this group still is it not?
No, Mike, you're right. I mean, Khalil Mack is tied for 26th in sacks. That's shocking, right, at 6.5. But he still leads the league or is tied for the most forced fumbles. We do the fancy metrics at ESPN, like the pass rush win ratio, those next generation stats. He's like tied for third in single coverage, tied for third in double coverage. So he is creating plays. Other guys maybe sometimes aren't feasting off it. But no, defensively, they're missing the turnovers that they had last year. I mean, they led the league in interceptions, points off turnovers, pick sixes, all that good stuff. They don't have that, but still top to bottom, they're only giving up between 14 and 17 points per week. And if the offense was at least functional, the Bears would have a much better record right now than 5-6. So, no, I mean, overall, they're missing Akeem Hicks. Dane Trevathan's out again today. There have been a couple of injuries, but for the big picture with the defense, it's been pretty solid again this season.
And, Jeff, one thing when you're looking at this, you're talking about, the dysfunction of the offense and how that plays into the defense, them being on the field more because they can't possess the ball as long. I look at one of the things I think it's kind of underreported at this point is the loss of Jordan Howard. When he went to the Eagles last season, like how that changed this Bears offense. They don't have the hammer anymore that's able to help them possess the ball. Like, do you think that's something that has been more impactful than people have talked about?
Bobby, I think they've had to run the ball way more, or attempt to. That sounds nuts, right? Because the Bears set a franchise low for 7 rushing attempts against the Saints like a month and a half ago. Matt Nagy did not come to this year with the I formation in his playbook. Mm-hmm. Like these are just not things that he does. They're trying to adapt with the run game on the fly. The only run game they really wanted coming in were those RPOs. And those really haven't worked well this year for a variety of reasons. We talked about Trubisky's decision-making. You lose Jordan Howard. You draft David Montgomery. The offensive line has really struggled at times this year, winning at the point of attack. So I think Howard's a loss, but I just think they have no identity. Like they can't figure out what they are. There's a game where David Montgomery runs for 120 yards. Then the next game he touches the ball 12 times. See what I mean? Like it's bizarre. So it makes me wonder, does it really matter who's back there at running back? Because everything is so disjointed. And I think it just comes back to full circle. Is that, the quarterback has been really shaky again. He's played better as of late, a couple better throws with Trubisky. I don't think Matt Nagy has trusted him much this year, but I don't think Matt Nagy has that great experience to draw upon to say, okay, I've done this before. I can fix this right now. I think as a young head coach, he doesn't have that, and I think that's kind of why it's so disjointed on offense. But, yeah, Jordan Howard, David Montgomery, those are both 2 pretty good backs, but for whatever reason, they're just not thriving in this system, really.
You guys can follow him on Twitter at Dickerson ESPN. Jeff, as always, we appreciate your time. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Eat a bunch of food, and we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning.
Let's hope for that turkey in the press box, boys. Let's cross with the fingers now. It's my only shot to have a Thanksgiving meal. We'll see what the Lions put out today. We'll see.
Oh, you got to imagine it's going to be there, right? They're going to have the press box meal. It's going to be all Thanksgiving. I got to feel
That's a good question. I've never been in an NFL press box.
Well, I have, but then I found out you have to be professional in those, and we know that doesn't last very long for me. As the Steelers get set to take on the Browns after a brawl a couple of weeks back, there's some serious questions that need to be answered and some serious ramifications. We'll get to that next. It's Golick and Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
What's going to be the key to keeping your team grounded going into this game?
Yeah, I got confidence. Our team will stay focused this week. We don't have a down in.
Singular focus again. Just going into it with the same mindset. It's one game at a time.
This is Golick and Wingo.
Is your vehicle ready for your holiday road trip? Increase your fuel efficiency with a new K&N air filter. Friday through Sunday, get a $20 gift card after a mail-in rebate when you purchase any K&N air filter. You can even buy online and pick up your gifts in-store. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Auto Parts.
Ready? Okay. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. Give me an S. S. Give me an O. O. What's that spell? So. Are we gonna win?
Not if we play like we cheer.
Just okay is not okay. Whether it's cheerleaders or your wireless network, AT&T is America's best wireless network. Best network based on GWS One School, September 2019.
From your home or on the road, take Busey with you. With convenient online and mobile banking services, manage your finances anytime, anywhere. Download the Busey mobile app to view balances, transfer funds, pay bills, and more. Now with mobile chat, get your banking questions answered from your device whenever you want, wherever you are. Visit Busey.com or stop by one of our many convenient locations for solutions to your financial needs. Busey, your dream, our promise. Member FDIC.
Illini fans, mark your calendars now for the Game Day Spirit Winter Stadium Sale. The date is Saturday, December 7th in the Great West Hall of Memorial Stadium. Save up to 90% off on Illini merchandise and fine brands like Nike, Columbia, Champion, and 47 brand. There's something for every Illini fan. Hats, tees, sweatshirts, hoodies, jackets, jerseys, and more. You won't want to miss this one-day clearance event. Follow Game Day Spirit on Facebook for details and previews of special offers. Don't miss the sale Saturday, December 7th at Memorial Stadium. Go Illini!
Jay Lehman is back on the Jeremy Warner Show this fall.
Tell Lisa Byington, I have never seen Wisconsin get schemed up like they're getting schemed up on some place. Because I saw some chunk runs. I saw Navarro's pass. I haven't seen that this year.
Get the insight from the former All-American Illini linebacker and Rose Bowl team captain. Catch him on Monday morning starting at 10 a.m. as he talks Illini football and breaks down the rest of the Big Ten. Thanks to Molitor Financial Group and Dick Van Dyke Appliance World. Don't miss a thing, and be sure to check out our podcast online at espncu.com.
Hey, sports fans. Dr. Jeff Schroeder here from Mettler Center. You may have heard Dr. Matthew Gordon and I on the ESPN Injury Report. Along with giving commentary on high-profile injuries, we can assess and treat your acute or chronic aches and pains. Don't forget, even young athletes can benefit from a short round of physical therapy. No need to wait. Individuals are usually seen within 24 hours. Let us help you and your family get back to the things you love. It all starts with a free 30-minute consultation. Call or request an appointment online at MettlerCenter.com.
The holiday season is here, and it's time for our best offer of the year during the Ford Black Friday event. Now, for a limited time, get 20% estimated savings on select 2019 Ford models. You're ready, and so are we. Start the season off right, and don't wait to enjoy our best deal of the season. That is 20% estimated savings on select 2019 Ford models. The Ford Black Friday event ends soon, so hurry in today. Eligible on select 2019 model year vehicles. Vehicle must have arrived at dealer at least 61 days prior to the sale date. Estimated savings include an average dealer discount based on a sales survey of average discounts offered by Ford dealers nationally. Discount may vary. Dealer determines price. For all offers, take new retail delivery from an authorized Ford dealer stock by December 2nd, 2019. See participating dealer for complete details.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Sit back and relax and take the drive with Lonte and Derek Piper. Weekdays 4 to 6 right here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
It's Golic Week on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's get you caught up on some of what is trending. And it starts with a little college basketball. I'm telling you, if you are sleeping on the college basketball season so far this year, you are missing drama. It feels like every single day. Kansas, number 4, beat Dayton 90-84 in overtime. So Kansas gets their third Maui Invitational Championship. They won the Maui Jim Maui Invitational Championship. Big game for them, obviously. Devin Dotson, game high 31 points, 5 steals. The second Kansas player in the last 20 seasons with 30 points and 5 steals in a game. So great work by them. Still waiting on our invite to get to cover the Maui Jim Maui Invitational Championship. I'm just saying. And I hit the little board, but it's supposed to go bum, 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 bum. The next story, Earl Thomas, he says the Ravens will be in the Super Bowl. I'm not sure why this is really a story, but the Ravens safety offered a confident take when he was asked about the Sunday game against the 49ers. And he said, if you think the 49ers going to the Super Bowl, could be, let's see. When the Super Bowl comes, whoever we play, they're going to be in trouble. I will say, what's an athlete supposed to be? To say, you know what? Lucky to make the playoffs. Not really sure we can win a big game. I don't know what the hot takeaway is on that.
No, it's funny. This Ravens team, the way they've handled everything has been phenomenal. Like Lamar Jackson, he's a guy that could be, captain sensitive for all the criticism that he's got and he's received. Instead of gloating at everybody now, because he's the presumptive MVP candidate, he wears the shirt up there. Nobody cares. Work harder. He's just going to do himself. And then you've got Mark Ingram, being his hype man for the MVP at 24/7. So it's an absolute joy to watch these guys do the pressers now.
America's team, Baltimore Ravens.
I'd love it if it'd be more of a story if Earl Thomas came out and said, man, we're just enjoying it week to week because, God, we know ain't winning the Super Bowl, so we might as well just have a little fun.
The bottom's dropping out on this thing eventually, guys. Just get ready.
And last on the trending list, Steelers' David DeCastro received a fine, but no explanation. The guard said he hasn't received an explanation from the NFL for the fine he incurred in the Browns loss. He believes, though, that he was fined for being, quote, a peacemaker. So he wasn't listed on the initial list of fines from the end-of-game melee a couple of weeks ago between the Browns and Steelers, but he revealed he was fined more than $14,000. He was involved in the fight. He separated Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett after laying on Garrett, and he laid on Garrett to sort of de-escalate the whole situation. So he says he was a peacemaker. The NFL says peacemaking costs you $14,000. That's what's trending.
Ben Simmons has to be somewhere like, God, listen, I tried that excuse and it worked great, so I don't know what's wrong with you, Dave. We did, speaking of the NBA, interview Cassidy Hubbarth earlier. If you missed our interview with Cassidy, go check out the entire interview on demand in the Golic and Wingo podcast, brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in just 5 minutes. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One, NA, member FDIC.
So let's talk a little bit about the Steelers-Browns game, because David DeCastro, fined and more than $14,000 for keeping the peace as he sees it is a hefty fine. But it's a reminder that there is a real and lingering effect on Sunday's game, because a lot of people had their pocketbooks lightened. And you can talk about the disrespect. You can talk about that both sides are going to feel. You can talk about the things that led up to the incident or the incident itself. And all of these things are going to charge everybody to a different level emotionally. But also, a lot of money is just being taken out of checks, which is a real effect when you're looking across at somebody and thinking, man, you cost me money above and beyond and on top of everything else. That's like the cream cheese icing on top of the cake. Here. I expect both teams to be, we're expecting some sort of an incident. But, guys, there's too much on the line in this game to let that revenge, whatever it means for either side, become a bigger factor than, actually winning a football game for two teams in the playoff hunt.
If you look at this, if the Browns end up winning this game, both teams would be sitting there at 6-6. The Browns, as much as they had struggled earlier in the year, they've rattled off a number of wins. They're sitting at 5-6. Pittsburgh now is sitting at 6-5, and they're in the playoffs at this point in time. And so this is what's kind of crazy here is I think that'll end up prevailing over any individual disputes that have happened and trying to get retribution for things that have happened before, is the fact that both of these teams, their guys' ultimate goal is to ultimately make the playoffs and then also to retain as much of their salary as possible. And if you think the fines were heavy last time, the NFL, I'm sure is going to issue some sort of edict to these teams. Like, there's not going to be any room. There's going to be no tolerance for any tomfoolery or shenanigans. If something happens, we will be heavy-handed with our punishments, our fines, our suspensions, and those will be coming quick. Ejections will come quick. We're not going to have this happen again 2 weeks after it happened once on a Thursday night in front of the entire world to see.
We always hear points of emphasis for the officiating crews. The point is going to be flag early and often if you need to send that message, because you're right, in a game where this much is important, and when you look at it in all actuality, we know Myles Garrett off the field for the rest of the year. Marquise Pouncey, to the objection of the Steelers, still off the field for this game, even after having that suspension reduced. Mason Rudolph, who was the center of a lot of this, now off the field, benched for performance reasons in this in favor of Duck Hodges. So most of the principal players in this are off the field. There's going to be something that happens in this because there's bad blood between these teams anyway. It's division. We saw this with the Bengals a couple of years ago with them. But if you're the Steelers, especially that offensive line where we'd expect a fair amount of the retribution to come from, you're worried about Duck Hodges back there at quarterback for just the second time this year now in a way that you've got to account for and try and overcome as a group without a great player in Marquise Pouncey.
So you mentioned the offensive line, and going back to the DeCastro thing, the fact that he got fined in all of this, absolutely ludicrous. Like, I would like to sit there with whoever it was. It was Derek Brooks, James Thrash. Those were the appeals officers that dealt with that. I don't know who is rendering these fines or who reviewed this. Because my thing, if I'm DeCastro, show me something I could have done which would have been less benign but still would have helped stop the fight. Honestly, yeah, he tossed Myles Garrett to the ground. It wasn't malicious. He laid on him then, really probably as much to protect Pouncey from curb stomping him as anything else. Yeah. Garrett wasn't fighting back. Like, those two weren't in anything. He didn't throw a punch. He didn't do anything.
I jokingly said it, but it is eerily similar to Ben Simmons in that fight that the 76ers were a part of, where he's laying on top. Ben Simmons was applying a sleeper hold there. Dave kind of had him in that armbar, holding him back before he tossed him, but it was this same idea of you have one guy in this that can claim the role of peacemaker, and in a fight this violent, Dave did far and away the least violent portions of any of this.
Well, and that's what, obviously they'll go through the appeals process, but that's why, you feel about the lingering effect on this. There's so many people that feel like they just got wrong, and whether they're right or wrong in feeling that or whatever led up to it, you've got so many people that feel like they were wronged in this process. I can't figure out how to manage whatever that emotional moment is going to be, because ultimately that's going to be one of the keys, especially early in this game. Like, how do you manage whatever your level of aggression is? I mean, as a talker, like, the first thing I'm doing is just running my mouth, right? Yeah. Like, I am coming.
Not a fighter. I'm glad you clarified that at the beginning.
No, again, you guys fight for me on Black Friday so that I can go out and get the deals. I'm the disturber. I'm just going to stir things up from the get-go. The ability to control emotion is going to be key. Coming up next, we'll head out to Jerry's World. How much of a distraction is all of this coaching talk to the guys actually in the locker room? We'll find out. Go look and win.
It's the Black Friday sale at Ace. Visit acehardware.com to get your coupon for 50% off any item under $30 in-store or online. This Friday only. Find the perfect gifts for everyone on your list from some of our best brands and more. Save big on Black Friday with 50% off any item under $30 in-store or online. Only at Ace. Must present coupon to redeem. Offer valid at participating stores and acehardware.com on regular priced items. Limit 1. Exclusions apply.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Mike Golick here. As men, we all play a lot of positions in life, on and off the field. Well, Dove Men Plus Care celebrates a new definition of strength, one with care at its center. Real strength is shown through the care you give to the people that matter. That means your family, friends, and community, but it also includes you. Dove Men Plus Care Sport Care gives you the care you need on and off the field for the pregame, the ball game, to the postgame. Dove Men Plus Care Sport Care, designed for every position you play. Sometimes for inspiration, you just have to look up. For more than 60 years, the Goodyear blimp has fueled greatness on the gridiron by providing aerial coverage of some of the most legendary moments in college football history. When the Goodyear blimp rises above a stadium, it inspires players to reach higher and rise to the challenge of the game's biggest moments. Now it's your turn to go further with Goodyear. Discover tires made to rise above the rest. Learn more at Goodyear.com. Goodyear, more driven.
Hello, this is Shane Calder of Country Arbors Nursery. Country Arbors Nursery is your home for a natural Christmas. Christmas isn't about pulling the dusty tree out of the box and plugging it in. It's about coming to Country Arbors Nursery and picking out the best-looking, best-smelling tree you've ever had. Our Fraser firs are the best price in town, starting at under $40 for a 6-foot tree. Country Arbors also carries fresh wreaths, roping, branches, and dozens of other fresh-cut greens for your decorations. So come out to Country Arbors Nursery, home of the best live trees and cut branching in town. We're open every day but Thanksgiving. Go to countryarbors.com for hours and directions.
I'm thankful for the gluten-free crust.
I'm thankful for Friday's fried chicken special.
I'm thankful for the wings and the pizza slices.
This Thanksgiving, there's a lot to be thankful for. Shane and his team at Rosati's are thankful for you, the loyal Rosati's Pizza customer. Rosati's wishes you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. Rosati's Pizza, 701 South Gregory, Urbana.
This is Eric Bolin with Provident Financial Group. Finding your way to retirement may feel a bit like working your way through a maze. Without a guide, it's hard to see if you're headed in the right direction. We can offer guidance along the way to help you see the bigger picture and make sound financial decisions. Contact us today at 3017 Village Office Place in Champaign. Call 217-366-3456 or find us online at ProvidentFinancialGroupLLC.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Norm Miller here, chairman of Interstate Batteries. You know, without batteries, life would be pretty lifeless. That's why Interstate All Battery Centers carry them in every size, shape, and style so you can drive, drill, call, film, or do whatever it is you want to do. Stop in today. They've got the power to keep you going. Interstate All Battery Center. Outrageously dependable.
Interstate All Battery Center. You'll find them outrageously dependable just over Interstate 74 at 2504 North Mattis Avenue in Champaign, with batteries for most every application in stock.
If your engine or transmission isn't running the way it should and you're not prepared to invest cash in a different vehicle, Long's Garage in Urbana puts miles back into the one you're driving by installing a Jasper remanufactured engine or transmission. Jasper Engines and Transmissions backs their products with a nationwide 3-year, 100,000-mile parts and labor warranty. Call Long's Garage in Urbana at 367-3942 and ask for a Jasper remanufactured product.
Northern Tool has your game plan for Black Friday. It's you watching football, eating leftover turkey. Because at Northern Tool, Black Friday starts now with savings of up to 75%. Whether you want a North Star air compressor, a Milwaukee impact wrench, you'll find it at Northern Tool. Black Friday starts now. Get the lowest prices of the year and get what you want. Northern Tool and Equipment. NorthernTool.com. Quality tools for serious work.
Or on the ESPN app.
It's the Black Friday sale at Ace. Visit acehardware.com to get your coupon for 50% off any item under $30 in-store or online. This Friday only. Find the perfect gifts for everyone on your list from some of our best brands and more. Save big on Black Friday with 50% off any item under $30 in-store or online. Only at Ace. Must present coupon to redeem. Offer valid at participating stores and acehardware.com on regular priced items. Limit 1. Exclusions apply.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Not quite ready for the holidays? Warm up to the season with McCafe donut sticks with chocolate dipping sauce and go from this.
Okay, Janice, I'm going to need you to take your holiday spirit from a 10 to a 2 before I pop your inflatable snowman.
To this.
Janice, these holiday decorations are a revelation. Oh, want to wear our matching light-up sweaters to the tree lighting ceremony tonight?
Warm up to the holidays with light, flaky donut sticks, now with new chocolate dipping sauce and the cinnamon cookie latte only from McCafe. Good is brewing. At participating McDonald's for a limited time.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
This is Golick and Wingo. For Thursday, November 28th, happy Thanksgiving.
Mac and cheese up in the oven, grandma finished cooking. Thanksgiving around the corner, need banana pudding.
Anthony Davis makes his return. LeBron down the middle. Alley-oop to AD, slammed up. He scored 41 points in his first game against his former team.
I didn't envision them to be this good this quick.
And I made the Christmas, but I'm hoping and I'm pushing for a better day, a good day.
Anytime you go back to a place where you've made a mark, you want to come back and play well and you want to win.
Sounds like they're trying to craft a narrative that Anthony Davis was somehow wrong.
You hold up, mama, introduce you to my cousins, man, my aunties and my uncles know they crazy. They be
and you're going back to face all the guys you were just with last year if you're LeBron James. It's a weird homecoming in a lot of ways. It's its own kind of hellish-looking Thanksgiving.
Mac and cheese up in the oven, grandma finished cooking.
Let's go look at Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Brought you on to mama.
Presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the show. Penzo Performance Line. Jason Fitz sitting with Bobby Carpenter. We're in for the guys. Mike Golick Jr. He gone. He just decided, you know what, you can only hold me back from Turkey so long, and he is gone. Actually, he's headed to a flight so he can do more work. That's what happens. But want to say thanks to everyone. There's a whole group of people that work on this show every day, and we're all here. And, you know, Bobby, you and I today have the opportunity to be in front of a camera, but there's a large group of people with Golick and Wingo and a lot of people that haven't seen their families yet on a holiday. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody that's working their tail off to even make this show happen, and happy Thanksgiving and happy. And for a lot of people that are just now waking up and just starting to get their Thanksgiving sort of day rolling, we're glad that you'll spend a little time and hang out with us. We hope it's a great and safe and wonderful holiday for everybody throughout the course of the day. Drinksgiving, which I'm still sort of enamored with, is the night before. When you wake up,
you're 40 years old and you've never heard of Drinksgiving.
I toured in music for a long time. We didn't need an excuse to drink, right? But how late do you go? Like how early on the next day? Like, do you just start when you wake up? You're like, all right, Thanksgiving, here we go, and you just start with something, or do you need like
Thanksgiving's the night before,
right? So you wake up the day after. You're a little like, do you just go straight back?
Wake up, have a little bit of water. You try to get the bearings corrected, and as you're younger, like I remember there were times, and it was great because when I was playing at Ohio State. The last game of the season we played Michigan was the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So you got that game out of the way. You were done until the bowl game. So you get that week off. It was fantastic. So you get to go back home, see your friends, and enjoy it like kind of a normal college student. I mean, there would be times where we typically would eat around 12:30 or 1 o'clock. But I remember like my mom having to send one of my brothers downstairs to like, hey, go get your brother. It's 12 o'clock. It's time for him to come up, and he needs to eat with us as a family on Thanksgiving. And so, yeah, I mean, it was just kind of whenever it happens, it gets rolling.
I mean, You are not a small, like, you're not talking about a small group of guys right there. I'm just saying, like, you are not a small person. I cannot imagine having to cook Thanksgiving. Like, the Golics, the Carpenters, like, it just feels like there's a lot of big people.
It's a two-turkey affair sometimes. It's definitely a dual meat affair. You've got your turkey, and then you always have to have, like, a ham as well to accent it. You know, the pig and poultry, deadly combination. You always want to try to bring those together. And to me, that's what delineates just a normal meal from a feast. When you have two separate meat entrees that you can choose from, then you transition into feast mode.
Amazing that Mike Golick Jr. said it earlier. You being hot on protein, least surprising thing in the history. I mean, it's just, he is stacked. You know who was feasting AD last night? We'll get to some football in just a couple of minutes. We'll take you out to the mindset of the Cowboys. But before we get there, one of the big stories from last night, Anthony Davis scored 41 points in his first game against his former team, the New Orleans Pelicans. It's his homecoming, 41 points. He feasted against the Pelicans. Close game, though. I do want to give the Pelicans a little love here. The Lakers win 114-110. The Pelicans, though, competitive all the way to the end. The Lakers playing incredibly, incredibly well. Their record shows it, and I don't think we saw anything surprising, Bobby. It's just a reminder that, you know, sometimes we've used the breakup analogy a lot. Well, what do you do when you see your ex and you realize, man, they've moved on, they're in a better spot, and it just is what it is? Because that's where the Pelicans, as fans, as an organization, as players, you got to look over and be like, you know what? I'm not happy for him, but I get it.
Well, I'm not sure if it's better or worse that Zion didn't play. Because he'd be like, you know what? We've got this guy who's really good. You haven't even seen him yet.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even know how good this guy can be. He could still be better than you. As opposed to him being out there, maybe you ultimately win the game. But sometimes, you know, something that you can talk about in the future or the potential of something is actually better than it being there. So, you know, we're talking about the Pelicans struggling. Yeah, they're 6-12. They're not great at this point in time. They won a third of their games, for heaven's sake. But they do have Zion out there who's waiting the wings, who's lurking, and hopefully when he's healthy, he'll be able to come back and make a huge impact on this team and be able to shift their fortunes.
Well, yeah, and it's funny because you're right, 6-12, not great. But I'm going to go back to, we can talk all day long about the fact that Zion's being hyped and he hasn't even played a regular season NBA game. I agree with that, but that doesn't change the fact that he's being hyped so much. So the argument Pelicans fans and the Pelicans can make is that they've had to start their season without their best player. Shocking to say when he hasn't even played, and Drew Holiday is sitting over there saying, hey, by the way, I'm still here. But if you're the Pelicans, you're looking at it and saying our best player hasn't played, 6-12, been competitive against a lot of good teams. I mean, I think that if you're the Pelicans, you're finding some level of hope, and you know that matters right now. Hope is the one thing that they can bank on.
Hope is a dangerous thing, but the fact that those close games, because when people point that out, I'm like, well, where's that like extra column? In hockey, you have like the overtime loss column that still gets you a point. Like in any other sport, it's either win or loss. The close loss, like where do you chart the moral victory? The MV, that's not a category anywhere. But the fact that they are close and that Zion is out there, you would think with him, that should put them over the top in some of those close games.
That's such a player mentality, what you're saying. You're right. You know, you don't get a tick for moral victories. I get that. But when you, especially for fans, you're constantly looking for context that will give you hope. So at times, just seeing that, hey, we're more competitive than I thought. Look, I'm a lifelong diehard Raiders fan. You know that. I've spent a lot of my time looking at it saying, hey, you know why next year is going to be better? Because, like, you find
we lost 7 games by less than a touchdown.
Oh,
we
my
were
God.
Close.
The number. And you know what we never talk about is how many games we won flukishly. We only talk as fans about the games that we lost flukishly. Speaking of fan conversation, a lot of the conversation today on Thanksgiving obviously is going to be about what is definitely the marquee game. The Bills taking on the Cowboys. The Bills at 8-3 taking on the Cowboys. This game's at 4:30. We're going to head out to the Shell Penzo Performance Line now, where ESPN NFL reporter Ed Werder joins us. Ed, happy Thanksgiving, man. We appreciate you giving us some time today. There's so much conversation about coaching and what the future of Jason Garrett is. I guess as much as you're around the team, does it have any effect in your mind on the players themselves, all of the conversation about Jason Garrett?
Well, this is the 25th anniversary of the greatest moment Jason Garrett ever enjoyed as a player, which was taking over for an injured Troy Aikman and beating Brett Favre from the Packers in a 1994 game. And now he's coaching. And it's amazing to me how loyal Jerry Jones has been to Jason Garrett over the past decade, because he really lost the fan base quite a while ago. But for the past 3 days since the New England game, every opportunity Jerry Jones has had to publicly criticize Garrett and the coaching staff and to suggest that their jobs are all in jeopardy going forward. It's interesting that the players seem able to compartmentalize and sort of block that out. I think there's some players are probably very specifically aware of what's been said. Others probably are totally not knowledgeable about what's been said, and some have a sense of what's been said. I thought it was interesting that Ezekiel Elliott, when he was asked about it the other day, said he blocks out the outside noise. This isn't outside noise. This is upstairs noise. But, yeah, so I think I don't think it's been a distraction. And if anything, if these players, truly believe in this coaching staff, then they'll become more focused and be more determined to put a better effort out on the field, recognizing the consequences of certain other people if they don't get the results that the owner wants.
Do you think that this changes Jason Garrett's decision-making in-game or any of the things that he could potentially, do going forward? Like, does Jerry making these comments have any tangible impact on the way that he's going to coach?
I mean, it's hard to imagine just because, from the very beginning to last week, one of the failures of Jason Garrett has been how he's, managed the end of games. And if you're going to do what he did last week against New England when you had a chance to win that game and kick a field goal in the final 6 minutes when you need a touchdown, I mean, he already knew when the season began that his job was in jeopardy when they didn't extend his contract after they won the division and won a home playoff game. So I think he's been aware all season of the consequences of not winning. And last week he certainly had to be standing there thinking, wow, not many teams get a shot to beat the Patriots. This is a big game for us. We're looking for a win to validate that we're the kind of team our general manager and owner and fan base thinks we are. And he still took the conservative route and gave away his best chance to win the game. So it's hard for me to imagine, Bobby, that he's going to change his DNA and his personality. I just think that's who he is. He's a conservative guy. They have an analytics department, but he's not aware of whatever the analytics are during the course of a game, like, say, John Harbaugh is. So I really don't think that his risk management will be much, if any, different going forward.
It's Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio. Jason Fitz and Bobby Carpenter in for the guys, talking to Ed Werder, ESPN NFL reporter on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. So, Ed, as we talk about the shifting narrative with coaches, it feels like in the early part of the season, Kellen Moore was a genius, and then the wheels fell off. And where are you at this point on your opinion of the offensive coordinator's job so far this year?
Well, first of all, when you fire Scott Linehan and you promote Kellen Moore, a former backup quarterback who's been on your coaching staff for only 1 year and only because of his association with Scott Linehan over the years, and you say the things you did when you explain promoting Kellen Moore that Jerry Jones did, which is he wants it to be different. He wants it to look different. And, oh, by the way, if you and John Kitna are running into any resistance from the head coach over the changes you want to create in this offense, come to me. To me, that is a pretty strong mandate on, I want this to look different. I want this to be different. And I don't think there's any question that it is different. I think Kellen Moore's shown a lot of imagination, and he's adopted a lot of the principles of specifically the LA Rams that was so successful for them, last year. This is now a pass-oriented offense built around, an emerging young quarterback that is doing things that, quite honestly, even those of us who have been around him every day of his career did not expect him to be able to goals he couldn't reach as a thrower at any point in his career, much less so quickly, and away from the running back that they just made the highest paid running back in football. I still think Zeke Elliott needs to be a bigger part of what they're doing offensively on a more consistent basis, but it's hard to argue with the success that they've had throwing the football. To me, the problem's been on the other side of the ball, and that is they just don't create turnovers. They've gone 12 straight quarters here again without forcing any turnovers. They've only got 12 takeaways all year long. Only 4 teams have fewer than that, and those teams are all losing teams. So they've been put in a challenging position where to get points, they have to drive the field all the time. They never get any short fields. The only time they got any short fields against what we thought was a good team was when they overwhelmed the Eagles and won the game in the first 15 plays because they got 2 short fields and scored 2 touchdowns. They dominated the game. Typically, this team has played from behind all year long.
Ed Werder, ESPN reporter covering the Dallas Cowboys, joining us here. And When you look at this, one of the comments that Jason made after the game, since he's not calling the plays, Kellen Moore is the fact that it was a 3rd and 7 against New England at the end of the game. They don't get it. It's a 4th and 7. Ultimately, end up kicking a field goal and don't get any points after that. And when Jason was asked about his input in the play calling, and if he told offensive coordinator Kellen Moore he would potentially be in 4-down situation there, he said he didn't want to muddle in that. But and that's not getting the play calling. To me, that's more of just, hey, letting your guy know the decision-making opportunity that he's going to have. Like, has there been any pushback locally on that as far as him not necessarily informing his coordinator that it could be 4-down territory at that point?
I think that makes – I think Jason Garrett is trying to absolve himself of total responsibility for that circumstance. And I think you're exactly right. I think he exposed himself to criticism, especially within the organization at the highest levels, because once again, just like in the Minnesota game, where they at the end of the game they're they're setting up a punt return. Minnesota's in full protecting the punter, trying to get the ball out of the end zone. The Cowboys are going to get one last chance here in the last minute, and they communicate what their intention is on this punt return to everybody but Tavon Austin, who's returning the punt. I think that made Jason Garrett look foolish. Like, you're not interfering in play calling. You're doing your job and you're managing the game. You're letting your offensive coordinator know, well, can I run the football here? Are we trying to get the first down? Are we trying to get the touchdown? Do I have 3 downs? Do I have 4 downs? So I think that's another an area of gross negligence with Jason Garrett in terms of managing the end of a game. And he ultimately, to me, made the wrong decision about kicking the field goal. So, yeah, and you just can't do that against good teams. That's what you talk about them being, 0-4 against teams with winning records. Well, that's why. That's why they're 0-4 in games where it's decided by 4 points or less, because they have no advantage in coaching. In fact, it's a disadvantage in the area of coaching too often. And I'm not saying all the coaches on the staff are doing a poor job. That's not true at all. But the head coach has got to do a better job than that.
Ed, we're talking to ESPN NFL reporter Ed Werder on Golic and Wingo. Ed, earlier you said it's surprising, even for people that have been around Dak Prescott day in and day out, to see sort of the jump that he's taken. Is there a sense within the building that the contract situation is something that's going to get done anytime soon? Has there been any movement on that?
Yeah, a lot of people took what Jerry said yesterday about his hands don't cramp when he writes checks, for contracts, as sort of a shot at Dak Prescott and sending the message to Dak Prescott that, hey, if you want me to pay you elite quarterback money, you need to win games like this. I don't think it was that at all. I think it was another shot at the head coach by saying, hey, I've spent and I've spent and I've spent on this roster, and you need to win games. I don't think it was at all directed at the quarterback. I can just tell you that they're 100% committed to Dak Prescott as their quarterback. They were before the season began when they offered him top 5 money. He obviously felt like his value was higher than however they interpret top 5 money at the position to be. And while I didn't imagine when the season began that there was any way that he would have the leverage to get a contract that pays him more than Carson Wentz and Jared Goff, the top 2 players taken in his draft class, who have now signed 2 big contracts, and Dak's still playing on his rookie contract as a 4th-round pick, I think I would fully expect him to be able now to argue successfully that he deserves more than both of those players. So I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever in the organization that Dak Prescott's going to be their quarterback. And if they go into the offseason looking for a new head coach, I don't think they're going to hire somebody who doesn't see Dak Prescott the same way they do.
And we've talked a lot about the overarching themes of the Cowboys and the areas off of the field. They do have a game to play. They are playing a winning team in the Buffalo Bills, who is 8-3. From being around the team, do you have a sense that this is an opportunity that they think they'll be able to seize and they feel confident in being able to win this game?
Yeah, I mean, Buffalo's an interesting opponent. They're obviously a very good defensive team, but they also have not won against a team with a winning record at the time they played. I think they view them as a team that's not going to score a lot of points against anybody, and certainly not against them at home on a short week where Buffalo has to travel. And I think they feel like, this is a game where offensively you're going to just have to grind it out all day. I don't think they go into this game thinking they're going to score a lot of points, which is a little troublesome from the standpoint of, they're 0-5 when they don't score 30 points. But yeah, I think they feel like this is an opponent that they can handle under the circumstances, which they have huge advantages playing at home. They've played in a lot of primetime games. Buffalo hasn't played in any, and Buffalo's got to deal with the short week. Now, every team kind of has some experience with that because of the proliferation of Thursday games now, but I still think the Cowboys feel like they're in an advantageous situation, and I think they like the matchups that they have with the Bills.
Follow him on Twitter at WorderEd, ESPN. Ed, as always, we appreciate your time. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Thanks for giving us some time today. We appreciate it.
Happy holidays to both of you, and thanks for having me on.
ESPN's Ed Werder joining us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio. Jason Fitz, Bobby Carpenter in for the guys. And Bobby, there's just no easy solution right now for the Cowboys and what's going on. But there's also, to your point, a game today. And it's a game that has real implications for both sides in as far as how they're perceived. Because we're making arguments that the Cowboys just aren't good enough because they haven't beaten any good teams. We make that same argument for the Bills. And this is one of those rare games where you have two good teams that aren't getting a lot of respect for where they are. And then you've also got two fan bases that are looking at it and saying, well, this is the game we're going to win because this is the one that's going to give us respect. I mean, both for either side, I'd say much like we said to Minnesota with the college football playoff committee when they were disrespected, there was a moment of go win and everybody will give you respect. For the Cowboys, they've got to beat a winning team. For the Bills, they've got to beat a good team for anybody to step back and say, okay, this is a team that we should take seriously moving forward.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is going to give them that opportunity and that ability to do that. The thing is, you talk about the Cowboys being a good team. They have a really good roster. Like, they have a talented roster. If they lose this game, they're going to be 6-6, 12 games into the season. So I don't know if you define them still as a good team. Now, I still think they win the NFC East, but they're going to be judged upon what they do in the playoffs. Like, the Bills are in a different situation. If they can get to 10 wins this year, I think that is a massive win for this team. Heck, they might win 11. And based upon where they've been at before and like where they've come from, and kind of have a young quarterback, and they've got a defense that's really good. Like, I think this is huge for them, regardless of whether they have playoff success. So I think both of these teams are being judged on two different levels now, based upon where the Cowboys have been the last 5 years. But you said it, when both of these teams are looking that this is the game they can justify their record or their perceived success based upon it's a team with a winning record when we're playing them, and they should be the ones that will give us that credit and respect when we beat them. However, if the Bills do win, Dallas will be back to 6-6. So it's not like they're a team that's 9-2 at this point.
Oh yeah, no, there's such ramifications there. If the Bills win this game, and the AFC, there's a level of, okay, now what? Like, are we going to start taking the Bills seriously in a week in and week out conversation? Because right now that's simply not happening, right? Like, we're not, there's nobody making power rankings that are sitting there saying, ooh, we got to give the Bills more love. Like, there's a clear line in most minds between where the Ravens and, frankly, the Patriots, the Chiefs are. There's a clear line between those teams and the Bills to most people that watch. So if they win this game, then all of a sudden they're turning around and they're changing that narrative. And at the same time, my God, I mean, if you're the Cowboys and you lose this game and you go to 6-6, it's only going to continue to make this like, does Jason Garrett survive the rest of the season? I know there's no logic to most people in firing, but at the same time, if you're not getting what you need out of this roster, like, what's the point of keeping him?
Yeah, I mean, logic sometimes can be thrown to the wind. I just think Jerry ultimately stays with Jason because he likes him and he's going to give him every opportunity. And heck, if they limp in the playoffs and they're 9-7 and somehow go on a run and make it to the NFC Championship, then he probably does. He keeps his job at that point. And Jerry's going to give him every opportunity to keep it. I don't think he wants to make a rash decision in season, which isn't going to really benefit his team this year anyway.
There are several teams this year that are going to be looking for new coaches at the end of the season. The question is, would you rather have a Patriots assistant coach or, I don't know, one brand that keeps coming up as a coach for the Cowboys? Which one would you rather have leading your NFL team? We'll debate it next. It's Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
ESPN Daily Podcast, presented by Indeed. Available wherever you enjoy your podcasts.
At Amazon this holiday, our Black Friday sale has new deals all day. There'll be more, and more.
Woohoo! I love it all!
Amazon's Black Friday sale, delivering all you need for less. Ends November 29th.
Everybody needs somebody to love. Someone to love.
Hey, Hey, this is Kirk Herbstreit. This team's going to need to change the momentum in the second half. Let's listen in to the head coach to hear his halftime speech.
Listen to me. It all comes down to now. I want to see some fire. A fire that could perfectly grill an Eckrich smoked sausage. And I want to see more from you out there. More flavor, more condiments. This is a home gate after all. Now start eating like you belong here. Yeah!
Okay, now I'm fired up. Eckrich, you do you.
We checked out the reviews of the Illini Inn, now fully renovated in Campus Town at 4th and Daniel, Champaign. Here's what stuck out. Best TVs you can see from any angle. Fast service, nice staff, and it's still the Inn. Check out the Illini Inn, an Illinois tradition for students and townies since 1970. Serving cold drinks and a full menu, the Illini Inn, 4th and Daniel, Champaign.
Wow. I got a cup, a koozie, a stress ball, a shirt, a bunch of pens, a stack of pencils, even an umbrella, all with different businesses on them. This is such a good day. I love swag from these conferences.
It might be 12 different businesses on those swag items, but more than likely, it's one source of printing for those. Minuteman Press. They take your logo and put it on various items, and it's a great way for your name to be in the public conscience. Give them a try. If you own a business or you're hosting an event, head to their website, cuprinting.com, for more information.
This Metler tip is brought to you by Matthew Gordon, Doctor of Physical Therapy with Metler Center. I have lower back pain. What should I do?
A common thread I see with these patients is tightness in their hamstrings. So if you have low back pain, try stretching your hamstrings out consistently. By improving the mobility in these muscles, you will improve your low back's ability to move and absorb different forces, which will reduce irritation and pain.
Go to metlercenter.com and click Ask an Expert.
Hi, I'm Brooke Burke. Do you ever consider just how important your feet are? They're quite literally the foundation of your body. And if you don't take care of them, you're asking for problems. That's why I wear Skechers' new Arch Fit shoes. Skechers teamed up with doctors to make a shoe that provides complete all-day foot support. They use 20 years of data to design a podiatrist-certified insole that distributes pressure across the arch, providing incredible stability and extreme comfort. Get Skechers' new Arch Fit at a Skechers store near you, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
At the Happy Honda Days sales event, you can unwrap incredible deals that'll make you, oh my gosh, you know, the kind of gift that makes you, no way, or even, awesome. Yep, that's basically Happy Honda Days in a chestnut shell.
Get a great deal on a 2019 Accord from KBB.com's best overall brand for 2019 with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. Hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details. Excludes hybrid models based on 2019 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
At the Happy Honda Days sales event, you can unwrap incredible deals that'll make you, oh my gosh, you know, the kind of gift that makes you, no way. Yep, that's basically Happy Honda Days in a chestnut shell.
Get a great deal on a 2019 Civic from KBB.com's best overall brand for 2019.
Visit your Central Illinois Honda dealers or go to centralilhondadealers.com.
Based on 2019 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
U.of.I. Community Credit Union for campus and community.
Take advantage of our lowest rate credit card at the U of I Community Credit Union with rates starting as low as 1.9% APR. Leave the worry at home this holiday season when you bank with us. The Platinum Credit Card will give you the shopping power you're used to at a fraction of the cost with an intro APR rate as low as 1.9%. Whether you're getting ready to shop this year or you want to lower your current balances, you need to take advantage today. And you'll enjoy your low intro APR for 18 months on purchases and balance transfers. No annual fee, 24/7 online and mobile access, and a low intro APR. Terms and conditions apply. Shop in peace this year with the U of I Community Credit Union Platinum Visa. Apply online at uoficreditunion.org.
Wednesday, December 4th, will you be there live for the first ever nationally televised professional wrestling event in Champaign? AEW Dynamite is coming to the State Farm Center at the University of Illinois. See Chris Jericho, Cody, John Moxley, Kenny Omega, Nyla Rose, Rio, Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, and the athletes of All Elite Wrestling Live. AEW Dynamite is coming to the State Farm Center at the University of Illinois live. Tickets are on sale now and start at $20. Special student ticket prices are also available. Go to AEWTix.com.
Cyber
cyber criminals will steal an estimated 33 billion security and private records by next year. The average cost of a data breach for a small business in North America is as high as $117,000. While these numbers can sound frightening, they don't have to be. Ease your fears by having area-wide technologies come look at your setup. They'll ensure your system is secure and will give you a detailed inspection report of just how susceptible to these threats you are. Call them today at 359-8041.
Hi, it's Stevie J. Start your day with me along with Diane Ducey, weekday morning 7 to 9 here on ESPN Radio 93.5.
The Lakers lead by 2. 5.3 seconds left.
Everybody's on their feet.
Holiday to inbound it. Holiday having trouble getting it in. Holiday brings it in, stolen by Anthony Davis, and they foul him. And Anthony Davis steals the ball in the inbounds pass. And what a fitting ending this would be if he can hit these two free throws.
Got to make them both.
ESPN 710 LA on the call. Sports Center on Golic Wingo. I'm Jason Fitz. Woo! In his return to New Orleans through a barrage of boos, Anthony Davis put on a show. Dropped 41 points to go along with 9 boards and a game-clinching steal in a 114-110 Lakers win. Davis became the first player in NBA history to have 40 points in his first game against a former team. Let's move from the NBA to college basketball after a 19-point second-half comeback against Seton Hall on the opening day of the Battle for Atlantis. God, I love these names. Number 11, Oregon will square off against 8th-ranked Gonzaga today. It's the team's first meeting since 1999. Gonzaga will be putting their 27-game regular season winning streak on the line. That is the longest active streak in all of Division I. And if it's Thanksgiving, you know you're going to eat too much and you're going to watch too much football. Who am I kidding? There's no such thing as too much. It'll be just enough because we have a triple header on the slate today. The Bears travel to Detroit for the early game. Then the Pokes host the Bills at 4:30 Eastern. And in the nightcap to go along with your second, third dinner, 18th nap, whatever it is, Drew Brees and the Saints go to Atlanta to play the Falcons.
For those of you confused, Pokes are also the Cowboys. SportsCenter is brought to you by AutoZone. AutoZone has more ways for you to get what you need when you need it. Free next-day delivery is available on over 100,000 parts, including ones for jobs like replacing your brake pads or rotors, or even installing new wiper blades. Visit AutoZone.com today to start your job fast. Get in the zone. AutoZone.
To sound like Jason Fitz here. What was it? Was it a bad time? Was it really a bad time? That wasn't very good.
That was a really good. That was a really good impression.
Yeah.
It's Golic and Wingo.
Don't be jealous of the range, the vocal stylings, as it were. Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Jason Fitz, Bobby Carpenter. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. We're in for the guys. I love that too. I'm getting trolled by guys that are out eating turkey and hanging out. Trey and Mike get the day off.
I don't think they're actually eating the turkey yet, though.
All right. You wake up early in the morning, it was cooking overnight, right? You get up, you just got a little taste, like you just reach in.
Well, that's one of the great Thanksgiving stories that we can get into. Like some of the notes my mom would give us. Like she'd do a lot of cooking sometimes the night before. We have a big family, especially some of the pies that you hate or other things that are available. And she's like, when we would go out for Drinksgiving, she's like, don't come back and eat the food. Like the last thing, you open the fridge, you're like a raccoon or just a grizzly bear, Yogi Bear just opening that thing up in the middle of the night like, oh, yes, mashed potatoes. Can't wait to get into these. They're actually for tomorrow, but we're going to eat them all tonight.
I so want your mom to have padlocked the fridge on Drinksgiving, which would have been a spectacular idea. But a group of carpenter boys, I don't know that they make locks that locks that strong. Strong locks, by the way. I've seen the pictures of the hair. God, Bobby, whew, I'm telling you. Speaking of Bobby and Ohio State's taking on Michigan this week in a huge matchup. Let's go to Herbie, Kirk Herbstreit, breaking it down.
This week's $1 Million Moment brought to you by Eckridge. It's rivalry weekend. So many great games. Alabama, Auburn, South Carolina, and Clemson, and Ohio State, and Michigan, just to name a few. Boy, that Buckeyes game looks exciting. In Ann Arbor, Michigan and Jim Harbaugh. Is this the year that Jim Harbaugh is able to knock off the Buckeyes? Now remember, Of course, Urban Meyer's not on the other sideline. Urban Meyer finished 7-0 as a head coach at Ohio State against Michigan, and now it's Ryan Day's chance to go head-to-head against Jim Harbaugh in Ann Arbor with a team right now that's playing as well as anybody in the country. Ohio State's offense will be the key to me. I think Michigan, because of the way this game went last year, where Dwayne Haskins threw the ball, I really think the legs of Justin Fields will be the key in this game as far as what Michigan needs to be most concerned about. On the other side, it's about Shea Patterson. Can he make the throws to Nico Collins and company that he's made in recent weeks? Should be an all-time classic one Saturday.
Kirk Herbstreit's Moments of the Week has been brought to you by Eckrich. You do you. And he's talking about that game, obviously, because it's college football rivalry week. The rivalry week preview, not easy for me to say, is brought to you by ExxonMobil. ExxonMobil is growing algae for biofuels that could one day power trucks, ships, and planes with half the greenhouse gas emissions of today's fuels. Amazing. Learn more at energyfactor.com. Don't forget game day. You can check out on Rivalry Week. We will be in Minnesota for the first time ever, out there for Wisconsin, Minnesota. So check it out. Countdown to game day before kickoff, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, wherever you stream on the app, Twitter, YouTube, all of those places. Speaking of all these college coaches.
Had a good time on that with you last week, by the way.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a fun hang. You should come out and hang out with us more often.
Minnesota's a little far away. Might try to make it to another destination. We'll just have to see kind of where the things shape up the next couple weeks.
Minnesota's also super cold. Let's just be honest, super cold. I'm going to be outside tomorrow morning. Just pray for me, Bobby. Bobby Carpenter, Jason Fitz in for the guys on Golic and Wingo. As we talk about hot commodities at College Coach, it's an interesting conversation because today a lot of people are going to be watching the Cowboys wondering if Jason Garrett's still going to be around. And, what's interesting is we mentioned earlier, a lot of the bad teams have relatively new coaches. So if we presume that they're going to hold serve, you're going to be looking at some teams that are middle of the pack teams that are making changes at coach. And then you have to start asking yourself, who's the hot commodity? Bobby, I keep saying everybody just assumes Lincoln Riley wants to move to the NFL because that seems like the next logical step. I don't know that we can just assign that, though, because ultimately it's in some people's blood. They want to coach at, air quotes, the next level. I get that. If we don't know that about Lincoln, and if it's not in his blood, my God, he's got a situation in Oklahoma right now where he's making $6 million a year. They'll up that to keep him. He's got all the control. He's a rock star. I mean, why would you leave? If you're Jerry Jones, why would he want to work there? But more importantly, if you're Jerry Jones, do you want Lincoln Riley? Or do you want, since you have all these stars, do you want somebody that knows how to work with them?
Yeah, I guess that's the argument now with staying in college. Like, the financial compensation is the same. And when you're in college, coach, you're the CEO. You make all the decisions. Now, you have an athletic director. There's a president who's in charge. But in terms of football decisions, you get to make them all. And you can have great job security. An NFL coach told me, a number of years back, like, you don't get fired for wins and losses. You get fired for failing to meet expectations. That's why you see coaches that are 9-7 sometimes that'll lose their job because people viewed them as an 11-5 team that should have been in the playoffs and should have potentially been, in the conference championship game playing for a Super Bowl. And so in college, you necessarily don't have that stuff. And so Lincoln Riley, does he want to take the step? Do you want to have to work with the general manager? Do you want to have somebody who also is going to be commenting on your players, who is a face of the team? And Jerry Jones, like, some people that works for, some people doesn't. Like, Jerry's got along really well with Jason because Jason's let all those things happen, and he understands where he's at, and it doesn't bother him. Like, Jimmy Johnson, Bill Parcells, like, those guys had other issues about how an organization should be run.
It's interesting that you mentioned expectations because one thing that really pops into my mind when you say that about college football and college football fans, there are certain fan bases that are going to have, like, you can have all the success you want at LSU. You got to beat Bama at some point. We all know that. When you talk about the expectations for Oklahoma, the interesting thing to me is that they picked up a loss this year. That's why they're not in the playoff. But fans aren't turning around and saying, how did Oklahoma fail here? Fans are turning around and saying, how is college football and the playoff system failing so much that Oklahoma doesn't get in? So even though it's really in a previous era, it would have been on Lincoln Riley to say, how do you lose a game? That's impossible. We won't allow that at Oklahoma. Now, instead, it's, hey, we lost a game, but we're still one of the 4 best teams in the country, so the college football playoff system's failed. It's another layer of defense for Lincoln Riley.
It really is, because especially if you like the coach, I think everyone at Oklahoma likes Lincoln Riley. Heck, he had 2 back-to-back Heisman Trophy winners, number 1 overall picks. They were in the college football playoff. It's a lot easier to be mad at some faceless people that just provide these rankings and blame it on them. And I think everybody's acknowledging now, when you look at this, that hey, it's really hard to go undefeated in college football. And so if we're Oklahoma and we lose one game, it's not our coach's fault. Granted, we'd like to go undefeated, but we would much rather blame everybody else and say that they're out to get us and, you know what, our schedule's good and we can't help the conference that we play in. It's not our fault. And so you can blame those people as opposed to blaming a guy that you really like who a lot of people view as one of the bright young minds in all football.
Yeah, it is. That's an interesting layer. And the thing that and look, I want to be clear here too with the Cowboys and Jerry Jones specifically. He's been patient with Jason Garrett. So I don't think it's necessarily why would you want to go work for the revolving door of coaches. It's not that at all. It's why would you want to go work somewhere, where suddenly you're in a situation where your owner, who's also your GM, has a weekly radio show and may or may not choose to openly trash you. Like, I mean, that's just, is that an environment you want to be in? Because last time I checked, the AD at Oklahoma isn't standing up and getting the nation to talk about what he says every single week and his evaluation of the players and the coaches. That's just a different bubble to be under.
And the other thing, too, is if you have a college job that you really like and you're at one of these elite schools, put Oklahoma in that category as one of like the top probably 7 to 10 jobs in all of college football where you can make really good money. You're going to have all the supports you need. You're going to be able to have better players than 90% of the teams that you're playing against. You should be able to win double-digit games every year. Like, those jobs don't come open all the time, and especially the way that Lincoln Riley got it. Not getting it when someone was fired or there were scandals that happens. Like, Bob Stoops just decided, hey, deuces, I've had enough of this. Lincoln, take over. Here's Baker Mayfield. He's pretty good. And you're in a great seat, so you can just keep this thing rolling. And so that's why I think now in college people look at it like, it's not that bad. And as good as you are in the NFL, like, Jason Garrett, they made the playoffs last year. You're talking about getting fired. They made the playoffs last year. He has a winning record this season, and they'll probably win the NFC East, and we're talking about him losing his job. That's something in college that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays forward, too, because if I'm an owner of an NFL team, I can't even look at it and say, hey, there's a method. We've seen coordinators get promoted to head coach, have it work sometimes, have it not work. We see young, hot coaches come in. It works sometimes. It doesn't work sometimes. What we know is that, at some point, an owner makes a decision based on who they love and who interviews, right? And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If I'm Lincoln Riley, do I want to roll the dice on that? I don't know. It's more difficult than I think people think it is just because there's a star in the helmet and it's the Dallas Cowboys. Coming up, it's Thanksgiving, and that means football. We'll break down the key storylines. We'll give you some predictions on the game, help you get ready for it, and we'll keep breaking down Pie is Trash. That's all coming after this.
Here's something for you, Fitz. Skechers are the most comfortable shoe on the planet. They come in a variety of styles, like Skechers slip-ons and wide fit. Slip-ons, obviously. They have no laces, so they're easy to wear, while the wide fit provides that extra room if you have a fatter foot like mine throughout, giving you the room you need to breathe. Both include air-cooled memory foam that cradles your feet and provides unbelievable comfort that lasts all day long.
Can we acknowledge how, you got really wide feet, don't you? Like
My
big.
brothers are wider than mine. I got some of the narrower ones in the family, which is a pretty good thing for me. Not a huge golf guy, Fitz, but if you are hitting the links, Skechers has the Go Golf shoes that have unmatched performance and comfort on the course. See all the latest styles at Skechers store-wide, nationwide, online at Skechers.com or other fine retailers. Skechers, comfort included.
More Golick and Wingo after this. I'm going to walk over the next break and just give me a big whiff.
Come on, get a whiff of the big fella.
It's Golick and Wingo.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Hey, what's that look on your face? Defeat? You want to save more money? Then start playing as a team. Bundle home and auto with Progressive. That's how you win big savings. What? You need music to get pumped? Let's do this. Hold on, I'm going to turn it up. That's too loud. Yeah, that's better.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Trade pros. Whether you specialize in service or new construction, Ferguson knows firsthand how much work goes into a long day on the job, which is why we're committed to offering the products and solutions to get every job done right. With over 1,000 locations, an unmatched selection of specialty products, tools, and supplies, our pro pickup and same or next day delivery, you can trust that doing business with Ferguson will be the easiest part of your hard day's work. Visit Ferguson.com to find a counter location near you.
Houlihan's, located at 1st Street and St. Mary's Road, is the perfect place to meet someone and talk over plans as you enjoy a delicious meal. Their happy apps and drink specials are a terrific choice from 4 to 6 weekdays and all day Sunday. Their breakfast is awesome from 7 to 10 a.m. and coffee lovers, take note of the Starbucks brand as you run into the iHotel for a nice warm beverage to keep you going. Holiday gatherings coming up? Visit stayatthei.com and discover some great options for a family or company parties. Houlihan's, just south of the State Farm Center.
This is Rob Meyer with Provident Financial Group. As independent financial advisors, we can help ensure you're following a strategy that makes sense no matter what the market is doing. Take control of your financial life with a complimentary consultation. We will create a plan that's right for you. Contact us today at 3017 Village Office Place in Champaign or call us at 217-366-3456 or online at providentfinancialgroupllc.com.
Securities and advisory services offered through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor.
Do you want shoes made from nature's original luxury superfiber? Then you need new Skechers washable shoes, made from premium quality wool. To start, wool wicks away moisture to help keep you dry and comfortable. It's also super flexible and highly breathable. And not only do they keep you cool and comfortable in the summer, but Skechers washable shoes also regulate temperature to keep you warm and toasty in the winter. Plus, they're even washable. Discover the wonders of wool with Skechers washable shoes at a Skechers store near you at Skechers.com or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
At the award-winning Honda BMW, if you'll go in now, you have a chance to buy a new Honda at 0.9% financing for 72 months. That doesn't happen very often. Get your details at drivechampaign.com or stop by the award-winning dealership off Neal at Burwash in Savoy. It's Honda BMW. Again, 0.9% financing for 72 months till the end of the year. Visit Honda today. DriveChampaign.com online off Neal at Burwash in Savoy.
Mower, car, ATV, boat, truck, weed eater. All of your toys has a battery in it, and you want to be able to get on without worrying if that machine is going to power up. Head to Interstate All Battery Center in Champaign. They know batteries and will hook you up with the battery that will make your machine purr once again. So whether it's hitting the party cove in your boat, having the best looking lawn in your neighborhood, hitting the backwoods, or going to work, Interstate Batteries will power you through the day and weekend. So head on into Interstate All Battery Center in Champaign on Mattis Avenue.
We're talking with Chef Thad Morrow about the food you'll experience at the new Naya restaurant in Campustown.
I really like food to be, casual, approachable, but that doesn't necessarily mean not delicious. I want the food to be simple, but you can come in, have a nice plate of pasta, grab a glass of wine, and relax. It's not fine dining, it's casual dining.
Asian-inspired Italian cuisine is waiting for you at the new Naya restaurant. See the menu, get hours, and learn more at NayaRestaurant.com.
It's the Jeremy Warner Show, weekday mornings from 9 to 11, right here on ESPN 93.5.
It is Thanksgiving. We're all very excited about that. Happy Thanksgiving. Wish it to your loved ones. Yada, yada. Let's argue about stuff in true Thanksgiving fashion.
Okay.
Jason Fitz, pie is trash. Are you going to book it?
Book it! Anything pie can do, cake can do better.
Jason, other than name, tell me one other physical trait that cheesecake has that mimics a cake. No, it doesn't. Not at all, Jason. This is what happened. You haven't actually had pie or cake before.
Oh
you live in some sort of weird matrix where these things are flip-flopped.
You know what? You guys have lost your mind. Pie's trash.
Love to eat turkey.
Go Look at Wingo is brought to you by Peloton. Pie is not trash. Worried about finding the perfect gift this holiday? Peloton has got you covered for a limited time. Get the works accessories free when you purchase the bike. Peloton cleats, weights, and headphones all together valued at $249. For more details, see onepeloton.com.
Let's Go Look at Wingo on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Jason Fitz, Bobby Carpenter in for the guys. Reminding you, ESPN Daily. Check it out. After you're done with the show, wherever you get your podcast, go get ESPN Daily. It's brought to you by Indeed, used by over 3 million businesses for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Mina Kimes previews the matchups and offers a special appreciation for Frank Gore, the Buffalo Bills running back, just passed Barry Sanders for third in the all-time pass rushing record. And then it was the perfect crime, and a rising star executive with the Sacramento Kings almost got away with it. This is a really interesting story. ESPN's Kevin Arnovitz explains how an up-and-coming NBA sales guy defrauded the team out of $13 million, and he got caught by an unlikely sleuth. I mean, that is, I'm telling you, go listen to the Daily today. And pie is still trash. There's just no two ways about it. Cheesecake is a delight. Pie is trash. And cake is better than, cake is the best of all of them.
If you had one pie that you think you might like, what pie would that be?
Okay. So there is one pie that I like.
Oh, okay. So your pie is trash. Hot take isn't really as hot as we thought.
But here's the thing.
It took me almost 4 hours to get this out of you.
Here's the thing. It's really kind of like it falls in a different category because it's key lime pie because it has a graham cracker crust. A graham cracker crust, like pie crust, is trash. I mean, that's the real take on this, is that pie crust is trash. Like, pie filling is fine. Like, I don't care about pie filling.
Key lime pie.
Key lime pie is, anything in a graham cracker crust.
And cheesecake as well, which is also...
Right, on a graham cracker crust, which is part of the tart family we learned earlier from Golick Jr. I would argue that key lime pie much closer to tart than anything else also. So maybe I'm finding out that I'm big on the tart family and all pie is trash. But, and the other thing is too, I'm not even on Twitter today. I'm scared. I'm scared to go look at Twitter.
Be.
Don't at me with, but you haven't had such and such pie made by such and such family member, because one of the reasons country artists get fat when they tour is because every fair you go to, every festival you go to has somebody that's like, oh, well, you got to eat this because this is grandma made the best pie ever, and you eat it, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh, now I'm huge. All right. Now I'm an oinker. I'm now now I'm Chunky Garth. Right. Like, and that's what happens. That's how you become Chunky Garth. Right. So I've tried all of the pies that you could possibly have all over the country, and pie is trash. All right. And it doesn't matter whose grandma made it.
Except for the key lime pie.
I mean, but yes, that's the one. But again, do I really count key lime pie as a pie? I mean, where
I
are
love
you?
Key lime pie. That was the first pie I actually liked. It was the gateway pie for me as a child to get into more pies. Like, as a kid, I shared your theories, and then I grew up and started eating more pie and realized I actually like pie. Like, a guy who wears a sweater like that is probably more of a tart guy by nature anyway.
I'm just saying that, this sweater is delight, and this was my reserve sweater. I didn't want to go. I'm easing everybody in. I'm respecting
what Christmas sweaters before Thanksgiving.
I mean, oh my God, they're openly trolling us on TV as we speak. For anyone listening on radio, they're now putting up pictures of pies wherever possible. I think the whole building might be mad at me at this point. But you know what? Just like Kyrie, sometimes somebody's got to speak truth. All right, that's what I'm like. Sometimes somebody's just got to come out and drop the gauntlet and tell you, hey, what you think you know, you don't know. And by the way, holiday cakes are better than like petafores, like the little tiny bite-sized cakes. All in. Like any cake, anything pie can do, cake can do better.
Little bite-sized cakes, like those are snack pieces to me. Like, when I think of cake, I think of something, somehow all of your cakes are round. In my mind, a lot of the cakes are more square in nature, rectangular-ish.
I mean, like, I watch a lot of food TV. When's the last time you watched a cake challenge?
Yeah, because
and they were like, let's make a sheet cake.
Because they're making wedding cakes.
I mean, no, they're just making beautiful cakes. Beautiful cakes around, all right? We were going to talk about football here, and suddenly it became all cake and pie, and there's... Which leads to another, by the way, hot take for me. I don't really like my desserts warm in general, which is part of why I don't like pie. So I don't like hot dessert.
Do you like your cake? Do you want it to be kept in the fridge? Do you like it the cold?
Yeah, cold. Yeah, give me cold.
I can be a fan of that.
And if you're going to give me
I'll eat cold apple pie too, just as good. Cold pumpkin pie, just
as bad. Either way, however you want to term this. This is what we're doing. There are going to be football games going on today, by the way.
After you eat food.
After you eat anything but pie at this point. And the early game, it has a lot of intrigue because of disappointment. And there's no other way to say it for Bears fans. I'm not trying to pile on to Bears fans, even though I appreciate the disappointment because it makes my beloved Raiders first-round pick they got in return this year even better. But the Bears take on the Lions. And I think the most troubling thing, Bobby, in this game, the Bears are going to win this game. The Lions are now going with their third-string quarterback. The undrafted kid out of Purdue is going to be the
Mr. Blau.
Mr. Blau is going to be. He's going to go Blau all over this game. But the Bears are starting to go Blau all over him. This thing, Khalil Mack is going to have a field day. The Bears defense has a field day. I think they win this game. Do you disagree?
I think they win the game, but Mitchell Trubisky has a way of making games more interesting than they need to be. I thought that the game against the Giants would be a great opportunity last week for him to kind of get healthy, get his numbers right. And that was a one-possession game in which the Giants had the ball late and had the opportunity to win. So with the Giants doing that, I think that was at Soldier Field, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
So this is now.
I was at MetLife, so I know it was at Soldier
Field.
So
it wasn't. They weren't playing a doubleheader there at MetLife. So with it being the case, being in Detroit today, if they had Matt Stafford, I would say the advantage Lions. Blau starting, probably not. but it doesn't mean that they're going to win the game ultimately. This game, I feel like, is going to be a last possession game, and it's going to probably take an effort at the end of the game by Khalil Mack to make sure they get a stop and get a win.
Well, and the hardest part for both of these teams is that they're at some point going to have to start answering the question of what's next. Now the Lions can say, hey, we didn't have our quarterback for a lot of this season, as they try and figure out what year, the next year under Matt Patricia.
Some fractures in his spine, so
yeah.
I mean, he's played through them for a while, so Matt's due some time off.
I mean, the Lions can at least say, hey, we were playing better football in the early part of the season. Our quarterback gets healthy. Maybe things are trending in the right direction. For the Bears, I don't think there's an easy answer for how they fix what ails them unless they go away from Mitchell Trubisky. But as Jeff Dickerson told us earlier when we had him on, there doesn't seem to be a sense that that's happening in the building. We'll go to the late game now in this game sandwich. The 8:20 p.m. Saints at Falcons. The Saints 9-2. The Falcons 3-8. The Falcons maybe on par with the Bears as the most disappointing team coming into what we expected versus what we expected this season, and another team that there isn't really a simple answer for how to fix it. Dan Quinn likely gone, you would think at this point. But 3-8 Falcons, I don't see them hitting the lottery twice and beating the Saints again, do you?
No, and that's the thing. You mentioned hitting the lottery. They already got their one get-out-of-free card when the Saints were coming off their bye week. Sean Payton gave them, I think really the whole week off. They may have had a little bye week hangover blues. The Falcons were able to jump on that and get the win. That's not going to happen twice. Like, the Saints are playing for real things right now, not just, to potentially save their coach's job or for guys to make sure they're on the roster. Like, they're potentially playing for a bye week, potentially playing for home field. All of those things still out in front of the Saints if they're able to put together some wins and get a little help somewhere else.
We've spent all day breaking down the Bills-Cowboys game, so real quick, I'm going to take the Cowboys. No surprise here.
I'm going to take the Cowboys, but I think this game's going to be more interesting. I don't think it's a two-score game. One-score game late, and you never know if Josh Allen puts on his running shoes, maybe scrambles in for a late-game score.
Yeah, and I it's no surprise that I'm taking the Cowboys, but I would love to see the Bills come in and win this game just because I don't think they've been getting a lot of love. We'll react to all the Thanksgiving football action tomorrow. Also, go through our 5-point stance. We're also joined by Dhani Jones, Tom Waddle. This has been Go Look Wingo. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody.
Haul packages for a living? A gas-powered Mercedes-Benz Sprinter delivers. Transport people? A Sprinter van with 0% financing is a 5-star idea. If food delivery is your thing, then a gas Sprinter caters to you. And if you're a general contractor, the Sprinter with 0% financing nails it. With innovation, safety, and technology, Sprinter is built for you. And it's built for your bottom line with 0% financing. The Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, starting at just $33,790. And for a limited time with IRS Section 179, you could be eligible for up to a $25,000 tax deduction. Gas engine, 0% financing, and a possible tax deduction? Now that's a Sprinter that delivers. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
MSRP excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, bond availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Only valid on 2018 or 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans excluding cab chassis. Qualified commercial customers only. Financing offer valid through January 2nd, 2020. Consult your tax advisor. For more information, limits may apply. Visit mbvans.com.
It's time for some straight talk. You know those football players who are all talk, no show? Well, big wireless carriers aren't much different. Well, Straight Talk Wireless doesn't give you the hype, just the savings. For just $45 a month, you'll get the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. No contract. All on the same 4G LTE networks as the big guys, but up to half the cost. Savings delivered right to your wallet. Only at Walmart. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Long's Garage, the oldest auto repair facility in Champaign-Urbana, deals with engine repairs, transmissions, brakes, suspensions, electrical, air conditioning. But one thing they pride themselves on in the one-stop shop for vehicle repairs is tires. Kumo Tires is having an instant rebate sale. If you buy a set of 4 Kumo passenger tires, you get a $60 credit. If you have a truck and buy a set of 4 light truck tires, you get a $120 credit. So go on to Long's Garage at 503 East Main Street or schedule an appointment at 217-367-3942.
Hello, this is Shane Calder of Country Arbors Nursery. Country Arbors Nursery is your home for a natural Christmas. Christmas isn't about pulling the dusty tree out of the box and plugging it in. It's about coming to Country Arbors Nursery and picking out the best looking, best smelling tree you've ever had. Our Fraser firs are the best price in town, starting at under $40 for a 6-foot tree. Country Arbors also carries fresh wreaths, roping, branches, and dozens of other fresh cut greens for your decorations. So come out to Country Arbors Nursery, home of the best live trees and cut branching in town. We're open every day but Thanksgiving. Go to countryarbors.com for hours and directions.
What's Kasasa? It's like a big bank rewards with a community bank heart.
A free Casasa checking account at Prospect Bank rewards you in ways you might not think a community bank could. But the best part is, you do not have to go to some big bank to get it. Stop in your local Prospect Bank and find out all the details. So what's Casasa? It's like a cool word for earning cash. Member FDIC.
Prospect Bank, the Opportunity Bank.
Welcome into Reviews. This episode, we are focusing in on Luther Falls. Cammie, who gave a 5-star review, said, quote, I cannot say enough about the professionalism, dedication, workmanship, knowledge, prices, choices about this lovely and ever-growing family business. They installed a custom bathroom for us a few years ago, and we are repeat customers with our custom kitchen countertops this month. The countertops were absolutely beautiful, and the whole process was positive. Keep up the good work. You are all awesome. Go to lutherfalls.com for more details.
Financing now available.
At the Happy Honda Days sales event, you can unwrap incredible deals that'll make you, oh my gosh, you know, the kind of gift that makes you, no way, or even, awesome. Yep, that's basically Happy Honda Days in a chestnut shell.
Get a great deal on a 2019 Accord from KBB.com's best overall brand for 2019 with 1.9% APR financing for well-qualified buyers. Hurry into your local Honda dealer today.
See dealer for financing details. Excludes hybrid models based on 2019 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
At the Happy Honda Days sales event, you can unwrap incredible deals that'll make you, oh my gosh, you know, the kind of gift that makes you, no way. Yep, that's basically Happy Honda Days in a chestnut shell.
Get a great deal on a 2019 Civic from KBB.com's best overall brand for 2019.
Visit your Central Illinois Honda dealers or go to centralilhondadealers.com.
Based on 2019 brand image awards from Kelley Blue Book. Visit KBB.com for more information.
Ageless Mail tonight. Haul packages for a living? A gas-powered Mercedes-Benz Sprinter delivers. Transport people? A Sprinter van with 0% financing is a 5-star idea. If food delivery is your thing, then a gas Sprinter caters to you. And if you're a general contractor, the Sprinter with 0% financing nails it. With innovation, safety, and technology, Sprinter is built for you. And it's built for your bottom line with 0% financing. The Mercedes-Benz Sprinter, starting at just $33,790. And for a limited time with IRS Section 179, you could be eligible for up to a $25,000 tax deduction. Gas engine, 0% financing, and a possible tax deduction? Now that's a Sprinter that delivers. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
MSRP excludes all options, taxes, title, registration, transportation charge, and dealer prep fee. Options, bond availability, and actual dealer price may vary. See dealer for details about costs and terms. Only valid on 2018 or 2019 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter vans excluding cab chassis. Qualified commercial customers only. Financing offer valid through January 2nd, 2020. Consult your tax advisor. For more information, limits may apply. Visit MB.
You're listening to WSJK ESPN 93.5 Tuscola, Champaign-Urbana, your home for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Attention.
This is the